LoveLore Library. Chapter 672. Oh, what good idea do you have? Let's hear it. Tianyi Dong was curious. It's actually very simple. Those spectators can't be bothered to watch the competition because it's too monotonous. If you can add some interest, it might be different, Kong Fei muttered in Tianyi Dong's ear. Tianyi Dong immediately perked up when he heard this. Good. That's really an exciting idea. I'll give the order for the Yellow Wings and Profound Wings divisions to prepare well. After hearing Kong Fei's proposal, the second young master pondered it and felt that it was a good idea. The next day, Tianyi Dong summoned the people in charge of the 4 divisions and announced a new decision. Due to the continuous decline in the performance of the arena, the end of the year is drawing near, and the annual competition is about to begin. This young master has thought it over and decided to adopt a completely new format for this year's annual competition. Tianyi Dong deliberately kept them in suspense. What? Letting the Profound Wings and Yellow Wings divisions hold the annual competition together? That's too ridiculous. The renovation work of the Profound Wings division was much more difficult than that of the Yellow Wings division. As soon as Tianyi Dong's order was passed down, the referees of the Yellow Wings division immediately became restless. Tianyi Yu, in particular, was very disapproving of Kong Fei's announcement. Tianyi Dong's new idea was to hold the annual competition of the Yellow Wings and Profound Wings divisions together in order to attract spectators. The contestants of the Yellow Wings division would challenge the magical beasts of the Profound Wings division. Tianyi Yu knew that Tianyi Dong definitely hadn't come up with this idea himself. Tianyi Dong was a reckless martial artist. In the past, he had never thought of any way to improve the performance of the Tianyi arena. We feel that this idea is feasible. On the continent, there's never been an arena that directly uses magical beasts to compete with humans. This idea is very topical. The people in charge of the Tianyi and Earthly Wings divisions readily agreed. Tianyi Yu cursed inwardly. 2 old fogies, you're naturally happy that it's not your contestants. Second brother, this matter came so suddenly. Why don't you go back and discuss it with father? Tianyi Yu suggested. Suddenly. Tianyi Yu, father acknowledged your identity, but I didn't. Speaking of sudden, what could be more sudden than me suddenly gaining a younger sister? When Tianyi Dong heard this, he was unhappy. After Heaven's Winged Jade returned to the clan, her father doted on her a lot. Even the annual funding for the Yellow Wings division was directly given to Heaven's Winged Jade for her own use. The mother and son of the Chu family were about to seize all the properties of the Skywing City Lord's mansion. Don't say that I'm autocratic. I'll give you all a chance. Of the 5 of us here, we'll each vote, and the side with the majority will have the final say, Tianyi Dong said impatiently. Very quickly, the results of the vote were out. The Yellow Wings competition zone and the Earth Profound Wings competition zone would be held together this year. The decision was immediately announced in the form of an announcement. Most of the contestants didn't care too much about this announcement. Only the contestants from the Yellow Wings zone who were participating in the annual competition had a lot of opinions. Yunsheng and Donghuang Linger also saw the announcement. In the Skywings arena, cross-level competition had happened before, but that was a special situation that would only happen when the contestants of a division were on the verge of a breakthrough in strength. Flame Emperor was the champion of August's monthly competition. According to the rules, he would fight against the champion of August's magical beast competition zone. It was fine to fight against a human, but it was hard to say when fighting against a magical beast. Can we refuse? I heard that the competition in the Profound Wings zone is very intense. The magical beasts haven't competed recently, and they're already hungry. They're much more ferocious than before. Donghuang Linger had also come into contact with some magical beasts when she was in the eastern capital. In fact, Some of the nobles in the eastern capital also had a tradition of hunting, so Donghuang Linger had a better understanding of the competition between magical beasts and humans. You can't refuse. Otherwise, your qualifications to be the champion of August's monthly competition will be stripped, and the third place will automatically replace you. Moreover, all your previous winning streaks will be reset to 0. Heaven's Winged Jade walked over and helplessly told Yunsheng and Donghuang Linger the Overlord's rule. Heaven's Winged Jade was originally a rude and unreasonable person. In order to force the monthly competition champions to agree, he directly set this unreasonable rule. The second place of August's monthly competition was Willow Blade. However, after experiencing the most thrilling monthly competition finals in history in August, Lu Qingqing was directly torn apart by 5 horses, and Tortoise Blade was also dead. Therefore, the third place could only be replaced by the third place, Double Dragon. Yunqing and Donghuang Linger had been competing against each other for several months now, and their winning streak had already reached over 80 matches. According to the rules of the annual competition where the rewards would be doubled, a single victory in the annual competition would be equivalent to 10 victories in the individual competition. As long as they could make it to the finals of the annual competition, the two of them would very likely be able to obtain a record of 100 consecutive victories and become the fighting king. Now that the two of them were being stripped of their achievements, the two of them were naturally unwilling. Moreover, once they obtained the title of Fighting King, they could also obtain additional rewards from the Heaven's Wings arena. Most of the other contestants were like this. Heaven's Winged Jade was certain that the contestants wouldn't dare to refuse, so he made such a rude and unreasonable decision. With no other choice, Yunsheng and Donghuang Linger could only accept this arrangement. In the blink of an eye, another 2 months had passed, and it was already November. In the past few months, the trials of the continent's elite magician camp and elite warrior camp had been carried out in an orderly manner. During this time, there was no news from Yi Baiming and Feng Tian. Shen Lian had been confined to the empty ship by Elder Helian. Gu Feng's defensive celestial sphere was improving more and more, and abandoned strength was also steadily increasing. In the middle of November, Yunsheng received a very unexpected letter. Yunsheng looked at the letter and immediately revealed a brilliant smile. She happily said to Donghuang Linger, "My second uncle and the brothers of the hunting corps are here." As it turned out, the hunting corps that had risen the fastest in the past 5 years, Sky Assault, was coming to Heaven's Wings City to observe the competition and raise the cultivation of the hunters. Although they were here to observe, it was actually Yun Songlong's special arrangement. Previously, in order to prevent her second uncle and grandfather from worrying, Yunsheng would write home every few months to tell them about her recent situation. In a letter 3 months ago, Yunsheng had mentioned that after entering the continent's elite magician camp, she had been training in Heaven's Wings City this year. Yun Songlong hadn't seen his niece for more than 2 years, and he missed her dearly. After discussing it with the brothers of the hunting corps, they all said in unison that they wanted to go to Heaven's Wings City to visit their young master. Of course, before they came, none of them knew that Yunsheng was actually among the participants of this year's annual competition. Chapter 673. Dong Huangling had only met Yun Songhai when she was young. She had only recently found out that Yunsheng's family was the famous Yun clan in Zhou State. After Yunsheng read the letter, Yun Songlong said that they would arrive at Skywing City in the afternoon. After not seeing her second uncle for a long time, Yunsheng was also very concerned about the news of the hunting corps and her grandfather, Yun Ba. She, Dong Huangling, Gu Feng, Qi, and the others went to the city gate to wait for them. Before Yunsheng went to meet them, she was also curious. Tianfa doesn't have its own airship. I wonder how the hunting corps is going to come this time. They waited from noon until evening. They waited until the sky was filled with multicolored light and the clouds near Skywing City were bordered with gold. Only then did several black dots faintly appear in the sky. At such a high altitude, ordinary low-level magical beasts wouldn't be able to get close. Those black dots naturally weren't ordinary magical beasts. The black dots were getting closer and closer. Upon closer inspection, there were actually 50 of them. They are coming. Yunxing waved her hand towards the sky. The 50 black dots were getting closer and closer. They were actually 3-winged bat dragons with multiple heads. They are 3-winged flying dragons. Why are there so many level 7 3-winged bat dragons? On the city gate of Skywing City, the city guards were in an uproar. 3-winged bat dragons were a type of flying dragon. They were rarely seen on the continent and only appeared on some uninhabited islands far away from the continent. Due to their ferocious nature and their addiction to raw meat, they were a very ferocious magical beast. If a large number of 3-winged bat dragons appeared, it would very likely mean a great loss of people. Just as the city guards were about to report to the city lord's mansion, a flag appeared in the sky. The flag was golden red and embroidered with the 2 words, Tianfa. It's not an enemy attack. It's the A-ranked hunting corps, Tianfa. I heard that second young master invited many hunting corps for the annual competition. Let them land. So many bad dragons appearing all of a sudden wasn't a common sight in Skywing City. It even attracted a lot of people to watch. The bat dragon in the lead looked very familiar. Yunxing took a closer look and saw that it was Zhong's personality, whom she hadn't seen for many days. The 50 bat dragons and 50 hunters jumped down from the bat dragons. The members of the Heaven Extermination Hunting Corps that came this time were all elites, and they were all well trained. The moment they landed on the ground, the bat dragon lowered its feet. The hunters were all in perfect order. That wasn't all. It wasn't until Skyfelt's hunters landed that Yunxing realized they were all wearing armor. This group of people also had the intention to fight for the reputation of the Sky Destroyer Hunting Corps. Everyone's armor and weapons were from the batch that Yunxing had refined for them. Those were all special weapons that had been fused with purple gold. Even under the light of the setting sun, they still sparkled with purple light. It was as dazzling as one could imagine. Some of the citizens who came to watch were also stunned. The citizens were all puzzled. Where did these rich people come from? Even a treasure boat wouldn't be able to take out 50 sets of violet gold equipment. It's the A-ranked hunting corps, Sky Assault. TSK, how amazing. I was wondering who they were. That's right. Mommy, that's a mutated flying batdrake, right? The Sky Destroyer Hunting Corps was the most eye-catching thing in the world. After landing, each of the bat dragons looked like they were the size of a helicopter. When they spread out their wings, they were at least 2 meters long. The reason why they were called 3-winged was because they had a small protruding wing on their backs. There was a protruding fleshy wing, which was just enough to make the hunters more stable during the flight. Zhou Quan, who was the first to jump down, heard the discussions of the crowd and was very pleased. He even deliberately said, "See, this is the benefit of joining the Sky Destroyer Hunting Corps. Violet gold armor and mutated bat dragons. If you join, you'll get a share. What are you hesitating for? Hurry up and join the Sky Destroyer Hunting Corps." Yunxing only found it funny when she saw this. Yun Songlang stood to the side with a smile and didn't stop Zhou Quan. Skywing City wasn't an ordinary place. If they could recruit new members of the Hunting Corps here, it would be very beneficial for the Sky Destroyer Hunting Corps. Yun Songlang was no longer the depressed and pedantic young general from a few years ago. This year's Hunting Corps captain's experience allowed him to become an outstanding Hunting Corps captain. At the same time, he was also a shrewd leader. Wow, what a grand display. Yunxing, where did your Hunting Corps get so many bat dragons? Gu Feng's eyes were about to fall out of their sockets. He impatiently reached out to touch those bat dragons. The bat dragons snorted and raised their sharp claws, wanting to give Gu Feng a swipe. Apart from their respective masters, they wouldn't care about ordinary humans at all. Little Qing let out a hiss from the magic scepter, and the eyes of the bat dragons were filled with terror. They were so frightened that they fell to the ground and didn't move at all. The 50 bat dragons were now as docile as horses. They didn't move at all. The city guards, who were used to seeing all kinds of magical beasts, were dumbfounded. They looked at the Sky Destroyer hunting corps as if they were looking at monsters. It was true that the Sky Destroyer hunting corps was strong, but they were actually strong enough to control such fierce three-winged bat dragons. Could it be that these 50 people were all summoners? Under everyone's astonished gazes, Yunsheng and Yunsanglang chatted and laughed as they led the hunting corps to an inn in the city. Only then did Yunsanglang tell Yunsheng about the origin of these bat dragons. This matter was related to a small episode before Yunsheng went to the immortal abode. Back then, after Yuan Shahua killed Xian Wuji, Xian Wuji's blood cloud crocodile became an ownerless item. Yunsheng followed her family's beast speech ring and refined an imitation beast speech ring. When Yunsheng was refining it, she didn't think too much. She just wanted to customize it for Yunsanglang. After Yunsanglang had that imitation beast speech ring, he would be able to control the peak 9th rank blood cloud crocodile in the imitation beast speech ring. His strength would increase greatly. This was also the reason why the Sky Destroyer hunting corps could become the strongest in the continent in a short 5 years. That ring was accidentally discovered by Zhong Yi. Zhong Yi was very curious as to why Yunsanglang, who wasn't a summoner, could control magical beasts. He thickened his skin and asked for the ring from Yunsanglang. Zhong Yi experimented with it in private. In the end, he also refined many beast speech rings. But because there were no suitable magical beasts in Zhou state, those imitations. Thus, the beast speech ring became a decoration. After that, several years passed. During that time, Yunsheng went missing and her whereabouts were unknown. But even during that period, Zhong Yi didn't leave the Sky Destroyer hunting corps. He was already used to the days with the group of hotheads in the hunting corps. When Yunsheng had subdued Zhong Yi was still thinking about how to break the master-servant relationship with Yunsheng. But after that, Yunsheng's strength and ability made Zhong Yi very convinced. After Yunsheng went missing, Zhong Yi voluntarily guarded the Jade Capital. When he had nothing to do, he would help little Xiantong and the Sky Destroyer hunting corps. These bat dragons were found by him. Chapter 674. The Zong personality himself was a powerful summoner and refiner. Even though he was undisciplined, he valued his trust. Since he had recognized Yunsheng as his master, it meant that he had recognized her as his master. About 2 years ago, he happened to be escorting a batch of herbs from a magical herb farm back to the Jade Capital. On an isolated island, he discovered a violent level 7 bat dragon. Relying on Zhong Shi's ability as a holy beast summoner and the commander-level bat dragon king, Zhong Shi easily reprimanded that group of big fellows. He simply made use of the beast language ring to equip many of the hunters in the Heaven Expedition hunting troop with flying magical beasts. This was the origin of this batch of 50 flying magical beasts. However, little master, the ring that you gave to our leader is much stronger than the one that I made. Those hunters can only control flying magical beasts. It is still impossible for them to reach the level of a summoner. Zhong Shi spent a lot of effort but was still unable to create a ring that was exactly the same as Yunsheng's beast language ring. Unlike Yunsanglang, who could use the blood cloud crocodiles to assist in battle, the other hunters could only control the bat dragons to fly. They could not do it in individual battles. Master Zhong Shi, thank you for your hard work. These 50 bad dragons are enough to scare people to death just by standing there. Yunxing smiled but did not say anything. The beast language ring that she made for second uncle was a complete replica of the beast language ring that her mother had left behind. Even the internal structure was 80 to 90% similar. However, when Zhong Shi made the replica, he only scratched the surface and was unable to explore the structure of the ring itself. The beast language ring naturally could not unleash the full potential of the beast language ring. However, to the normal hunters in the Heaven Expedition hunting troop, using flying magical beasts was enough. At least, the posture at the city gate just now was eye-catching enough. Second uncle, why didn't second aunt come with you? Yunxing found an inn for them. When they checked in, Yunxing noticed that there were a few familiar faces in the group. Among them were Zhou Quan and Oriole, the quarrelsome pair. Compared to 2 years ago when Yunxing left Jade Capital, their abilities had clearly increased by a huge chunk. However, she didn't see her second sister-in-law, Yuan Shahua, which made Yunxing a little puzzled. Your second aunt is pregnant. The imperial physician has seen her and said that she is pregnant with twins. She is already 6 months pregnant and it is inconvenient for her to move around. She missed you a lot and wanted to come along, but it was inconvenient for her, so I didn't let her come. At the mention of his wife, Yuan Shahua, Yun Songlong's iron-like heart revealed a trace of tenderness. The marriage between Yun Songlong and Yunxing had gone through many twists and turns. After the two got married, they happened to encounter the disappearance of Yunxing and the decline of the Yun residence. Because of this, Yun Songlong was so busy that he didn't have the time to take care of his wife. It wasn't easy for them to wait until the Heavenly Hunting Corps was in a better state. Only then did the two of them begin to raise their children. Haha, second uncle, you are so capable. You got 2 children at once. Yunxing was also very happy. She was really happy for her second uncle. Sigh, young Master Yun, don't talk so much to the commander. Our brothers are dying of exhaustion and hunger. Quickly find a place to rest and eat. I can't wait to go to the city. It was Zhou Quan's first time in Heavenly Wings City. The moment he landed, his mouth opened wide as he looked around. It was a pity that the commander had ordered that before they found a place to stay, they couldn't split up. Master, Heavenly Wings City is really impressive. It is indeed the #1 city in the world. It is already the 12th month of winter in Jade Capital, but it is still like spring here. Oriole rolled her eyes at Zhou Quan. She hadn't seen Yunxing for a long time and missed her master very much. What Oriole said was also what the other hunters were curious about. Although this group of people were martial arts practitioners and didn't fear the cold, they were still stunned when they arrived at Heavenly Wings City. This place was filled with flowers and greenery everywhere. It was completely different from the mainland. Below Heavenly Wings City, there is a huge magic array. That magic array not only allows the entire city to float in the sky, but also keeps the city warm all year round. The scenery in this city is very beautiful. When we are free tomorrow, I will bring everyone around for a walk, Yunxing explained. This matter was told to her by Heavenly Wings Jade. Although there was a magic array, no one knew the exact location of the magic array because of the clouds. Heavenly Wings City is really a good place. When Kay and I get married, we will buy a house here and raise a group of children. Zhou Quan chuckled. Who is getting married to you? Who is having a group of children with you? How long has it been since I last saw Master? You are so shameless the moment you see her. Aren't you afraid that everyone will laugh at you? Oriole was very anxious when she heard this. She didn't care that there were people around and pinched Zhou Quan hard. Zhou Quan cried out in pain. These two buffoons would usually quarrel like this in the campsite. Fortunately, their relationship was getting better day by day. Everyone just laughed and didn't say anything. When Yunxing saw this, she couldn't stop laughing. She wondered when she should ask her second uncle to be the matchmaker and have these two settle this matter. Dong Huanglinger looked at the members of the hunting corps. They were getting along as if they were a big family. She felt both emotional and envious. She was truly envious of Yunxing. She could laugh so happily and have a father and family that loved her dearly. She wasn't like her, who willfully abandoned her family. Right, second uncle, I forgot to introduce her to you. This is my good sister, Dong Huanglinger. When Yunxing saw that Dong Huanglinger was alone at the side, she directly pulled her to Yun Songlong and introduced her. Hello, second uncle. Dong Huanglinger was somewhat nervous. Dong Huang. Yun Songlong sharply looked at Dong Huanglinger. From her temperament and appearance, Yun Songlong immediately knew Dong Huanglinger's identity. However, he didn't say it out loud. This was the first time Yun Songlong heard Yunxing introduce her good friend. His niece was very smart. Regardless of the background of the friends she chose, he would support them. Miss Dong Huang, I'll have to trouble you to take care of Xing. Yun Songlong's face was amiable. Dong Huanglinger couldn't help but heave a sigh of relief. On the other side, Huang Ke pinched Zhou Quan, and Huang Ke went to the side to get angry. Zhou Quan begged a few times, but all failed. He hurriedly ran over while shouting, Young Master Yun, Ke is angry. Quickly think of a way to make her happy. Zhou Quan, you're the one who caused this trouble. Besides, how can I make Ke happy? Yunxing found it funny. Zhou Quan scratched his head. Right, young Master Yun, you've been in the Heaven's Wings arena for so long. Do you have any way to find out what's going on in the arena? If you can't find out, can you help me get a ticket to the annual tournament? Sigh, no, I need 2 tickets. Chapter 675. The Skywings Arena is so big, what do you want to know? Yunxing was also curious. It should be Zhou Quan's first time in Skywing City. What did he want to know, or did he know someone who was competing in the arena? I want to know about the Flame Emperor battle team. It's a 2-man battle team formed by 2 Rakshasa masked contestants. It's also the team that won the thrilling monthly competition in August. Ke likes the Flame Emperor battle team the most. Ha, Flame Emperor. Yunxing and Dong Huanglinger were both shocked. Yunxing and Dong Huanglinger did not expect that the masked battle team they formed had already gained some fame in the entire continent, especially in the arena and among the hunters. Even though Flame Emperor was only a contestant from the Yellow Wings region, and their cultivation was said to be below Sky Magicians. However, to the majority of the middle and lower-ranked hunters, Flame Emperor was the model of a counterattack. As newcomers, they defeated a veteran battle team and became famous overnight. They did not have any background, yet they were able to step onto the stage of the Skywings arena. Their role models were even greater than the contestants from the Skywings and Earthwings regions, and they became the idols of the newcomers and young hunters. Especially for new female hunters like Oriole, Flame Emperor was the idol of idols. Didn't I offend the Oriole? As long as I can buy the tickets to the Flame Emperor battle team's annual competition, Ke will definitely forgive me. Zhou Quan scratched his head foolishly. Flame Emperor, Yunxing and Dong Huanglinger both had awkward expressions on their faces. After a while, Yunxing had a strange expression on her face. The tickets are still okay. I'll send them to you in a few days. It should be easy to get some tickets through the Heaven's Wings Jade. Yunxing's strange expression fell into Yun Songlong's eyes. After settling down the other hunters, Yun Songlong went to find Yunxing. Yunxing hesitated for a while, but still decided to tell Yun Songlong the whole story. What? So you and Miss Donghuang are the Flame Emperors? Previously, Yun Songlong had been curious about the results of Yun Xing's trial in Skywing City. Who would have known that Yun Xing was actually a member of the most popular contestant group, Flame Emperor? Second uncle, you mustn't tell anyone else about this matter. Ling and I plan to announce this news last. Both Yunxing and Donghuang Ling decided that after leaving Skywing City, they would see if they should announce this secret or not. The two of you are too willful. The magical beasts of the Skywing Arena's mysterious feather zone aren't as simple as you think. Yun Songlong rubbed his forehead. He had fought on the battlefield for many years and was now the commander of a regiment. He knew very well how powerful high-level or even commander-level magical beasts were. Battling a commander-level magical beast is no small matter. You must remember to be careful. In the next month, come and spar with second uncle a few times to gain some experience. Yun Songlong was still a little worried. Second uncle, don't worry. Sheng knows what I'm doing. Yunxing smiled as she comforted her second uncle. But when he thought about it again, when had his niece ever acted according to the rules? Forget it. It's time for you youngsters now. Do you have any news of your father? Ever since Yun Songlong had reunited with his eldest brother, Yun Songhai, had left without saying goodbye. There's no news of father, but he should be training somewhere. Yunxing also missed her father. The uncle and niece talked about Yunba again. Yun Songlong told Yunxing that Yunba was living very comfortably in the Jade Boat village area. He had also trained the local villagers and had formed a militia in the city. That's right, Xing. Did you notice that I brought a big gift for you? Yun Songlong told Yunxing. This time, the team he was leading included the 10 devil warriors that Yunxing had left behind in Jade Capital. The 10 devil warriors that Yi Baiming had trained for Yunxing were all existences that could fight against 10 people at once. Previously, Yunxing had not been able to bring them along because she had to go to the mainland's elite magician camp. When Yun Songlong had rushed to Tianyi City earlier, he thought that it would not be good if Yunxing was bullied in a place like Tianyi City. Thus, he had brought along those devil warriors. When Yunxing heard about it, she thought to herself, second uncle, you have also underestimated your niece. Here, only I am allowed to bully others. However, the arrival of these 10 devil warriors was of great help to the current Yunxing. To her, her personal safety was not a big deal. However, Yunxing had thought that if she were to fall out with the Hidden Night Pavilion in the future, these 10 devil warriors would be of great use. After chatting with second uncle, Yunxing and Donghuang Linger left the inn. The sky had already turned completely dark. Let's go. Let's go to Big Sister Yu. I have something important to discuss with her. Yunxing was not in a hurry to return to her residence. Instead, she went to look for Tianyi Jade with Donghuang Linger. Yunxing brought the 10 devil warriors and silently disappeared into the darkness. When Yunxing and Donghuang Linger suddenly appeared with 10 burly men, Tianyi Jade was shocked. Big Sister Yu, don't be afraid. These are my people. Yunxing waved her hand, and the 10 devil warriors silently disappeared into the night. Who knew what methods Yi Baiming, that sly fox, used to train people? These 10 devil warriors' appearances were unclear. Normally, they were almost like mutes. They were proficient in magic and battle techniques. Their average strength was enough to reach the level of a saint magician or a martial ancestor. If they used a special formation with these 10 people, their strength would be comparable to a martial saint sky magician. Moreover, they were good at concealment and tracking. They were simply the best candidates for killing and robbing. Why did you bring these people here? Even though Tianyi Jade had seen many people, she had never seen such strange servants. To help. Didn't you say earlier that the people of the Hidden Night Pavilion have been restless recently? I will lend them to you. If you see someone you don't like, then. Yunsheng made a throat-slitting gesture. Ever since Yellow Knight Emissary died, Tianyi Jade had taken the opportunity to clean up the Hidden Knight Pavilion's influence in the Yellow Wings competition zone. However, Su Dagua of the Hidden Knight Pavilion did not give up. Tianyi Jade's identity was special, so they did not dare to do anything. However, the people of the Hidden Knight Pavilion would occasionally harass the other judges and some spectators in the competition zone. Although Tianyi Jade had acknowledged her ancestors, she was after all not Tianyi Tua or Tianyi Dong. Her strength was average, and she was only a martial ancestor. She also did not have her own personal guards. Tianyi Jade had previously complained to Yunsheng about these matters. She did not expect that Yunsheng would actually find so many impressive subordinates for her. Yunsheng, you are truly my timely reign. Tianyi Jade was extremely happy. Big sister Yu, I did not come here tonight solely for this matter. There is another matter that I want to discuss with you. Yunsheng told Tianyi Jade what she had seen during the day. Chapter 676. Tianyi Jade was puzzled. Yunsheng, how come I've never heard of the things you're talking about? Are you sure it'll work? Of course it'll work. Just do as I say. The results should be out in a few days, Yunsheng said with a smile. Tianyi Jade could only half believe and half doubt as it went to arrange things. Late at night, at the headquarters of the Hidden Knight Pavilion. A storm of rage had just begun. Bang! Su de Guisho threw out an account book. The 4 knight emissaries of the 4 competition zones were all cowering on the side, not daring to even breathe loudly. They're all trash. Look at the income from medicine in the past few months. It's fallen by 70 to 80%. If this continues, how can the Hidden Knight Pavilion survive in Skywing City? Su de Guisho's anger wasn't without reason. This year, especially after August, the Hidden Knight Pavilion's performance had plummeted in a short 3 months. In the Yellow Wings competition zone of the 4 main competition zones, not even a single pill was sold. It wasn't just the pills and potions. The hunters who had been controlled by the Hidden Knight Pavilion had also betrayed them. If this continued, the foundation that the Hidden Knight Pavilion had built over many years would really be destroyed. Grandmaster, you can't blame us for this. Recently, a large amount of cheap potions and magic potions have appeared out of nowhere. Our businesses have all been greatly affected. The knight envoys of the major competition zones had bitter expressions on their faces. The most outrageous thing was that although the prices of those medicines and potions were low, their quality was good. They were even better than the Hidden Knight Pavilion's medicine. In the past, it was the contestants who chased after them to buy the expensive potions and pills. Now, the situation was the complete opposite. No one was willing to buy their medicine. Have you investigated the origin of those medicines? Su de Guisho was extremely irritated. There's no news. I heard that those medicines were sold by the Sky Wings Arena. The knight emissaries shook their heads. The Hidden Knight Pavilion's method of controlling the contestants in the arena had always been to use all kinds of medicines and potions. Now that this method had failed, relying on ancient medicine and magic treatment alone wasn't enough. Emissary Qin, Emissary Zhao, what about your respective competition zones? Most of the income from the Heaven's Wings and Earth's Wings regions comes from gambling and magic healers, so they shouldn't be affected much. Why did your performance drop as well? Su Dagua was dissatisfied. Especially you, Emissary Qin Yi. Don't you still have Yi Baiming as your subordinate? His strength is enough to dominate the entire Earth Wings arena. Just him alone is enough for you to win the bet, Su Dagua questioned. Emissary Qin and Emissary Zhao smiled wryly. The Knight Formation Emissary replied, Yi Baiming is unwilling to compete. Ever since that match against Feng Tian, he said that he wanted to find an opportunity to break through and still refuses to participate in the competition. If he doesn't want to compete, then he won't think of a way. Su de Guizhou was almost angered to death. Chen Yi wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and cursed in his heart, "This old man, if you have the ability, why don't you tell Yi Baiming this?" That fiend had smashed Yellow Knight Emissary into a meat patty with a single palm strike. Now that Yellow Knight Emissary had sent himself to his doorstep to look for him, wasn't he just trying to hang himself? Was he tired of living? De Guizhou, don't be angry. There's still some time before the end of the year. Maybe we can make a lot of money from this year's combined annual competition. Emissary Wang, who had been silent at the side, volunteered. Earlier, because the Xuanyi division was forced to stop the competition, the income of the Xuanyi division was almost zero. Emissary Wang was worried that he wouldn't be able to report back to his superiors, so he secretly bribed Kong Fei with a large sum of money and asked him to help facilitate the battle between the two divisions. It's the combined annual competition. Are you planning to use the forbidden medicine again? I'm afraid it's not safe. Su de Guizhou still had some lingering fear. The incident with Lu Qingqing last time had caused the Hidden Night Pavilion to suffer heavy losses. Don't worry, de Guizhou. This time there will be no mistakes. I've already ordered my pharmacists to improve the prescription. Emissary Wang was full of confidence. I've already ordered people to add a new forbidden medicine to the food of the participating magical beasts. After eating this forbidden medicine, individual magical beasts can even display strength exceeding that of a commander-level magical beast. Emissary Wang said with ill intentions. Magical beasts exceeding the commander level, in other words, were king-level magical beasts. Even if only one king-level magical beast appeared, it would be enough for the 24 contestants to fight to the death. Needless to say, there were only 4 contestants. In this way, the scales of victory were completely tilted to the magical beast's side. But this fact was only known to the Hidden Night Pavilion. Very good. Whether the Hidden Night Pavilion can survive this year will depend on this year's annual competition. I will invest more than half of the Hidden Night Pavilion's funds. Su de Guizhou was relieved. De Guizhou, what about the Yellow Wings Division? The newly arrived Knight Emissary of the Yellow Wings Division couldn't wait to ask. As usual, I will send more people to you. I want to let that woman, Tianyu, know that Tianyi City is a man's territory. As a woman, she can't be independent at all. Su de Guizhou said arrogantly. It was also time to let those people see the true strength of the Hidden Night Pavilion. Su de Guizhou dismissed the 4 knight emissaries and returned to his residence. After a day of fatigue, he quickly fell asleep. In the middle of the night, Su de Guizhou was in a daze when he felt a warm current flowing past his neck. The pillow was wet, like he smelled a strange smell. Su de Guizhou touched it with his hand, and then put it to the tip of his nose and sniffed. Ah! Su de Guizhou's voice echoed throughout the Hidden Night Pavilion. The 3 knight emissaries of the Yellow Wings Division hurried over without even putting on their shoes. Su de Guizhou's face was ashen, his hair disheveled. On his bed, the mattress was already blood-red, and there were bloodstains everywhere. In the position of the pillow, there was a human head. The head belonged to the new knight emissary of the Yellow Wings Division who was still alive. De Guizhou, are you okay? The several knight emissaries saw such a tragic situation, and felt a chill on their necks. No one spoke, but everyone's heart was as clear as snow. This was a warning Su de Guizhou. Since they could kill the new knight emissary without anyone noticing, then next time, they will most likely come back to take Su de Guizhou's head. Su de Guizhou's heart was also trembling with fear. He was secretly guessing who had done it. Under Tianyu, there was obviously no one with such skills who could sneak into the Hidden Night Pavilion without anyone noticing. Could it be the Lord of Tianyi City? But the lord of Tiany City would not do that, unless he went against the agreement with that lord. Su de Guichot's mind was in a mess. First, stop all actions against the Yellow Wings division. Su de Guichot's spirit was dispirited after this scare. For the first time, he found that his opponent was much more powerful than he had imagined. However, Su de Guichot was not a person who easily admitted defeat. He still pinned his hopes on this year's annual competition. As long as he won a big victory in this year's annual competition, the economy of Tiany City would certainly suffer a heavy blow. At that time, whether it was Tiany Yu or the Lord of Tiany City, he would no longer put them in his eyes. Chapter 677. 2 days later, at dawn, Zhou Quan went to knock on the Oriole's door excitedly. Due to what happened a few days ago, the Oriole was still angry with Zhou Quan. "What are you doing?" "Don't bother me," the Oriole said angrily. "Oriole, don't be angry. Look, I bought something good for you." Zhou Quan couldn't wait to take out a set of things. "What is this?" The Oriole took a glance and found that Zhou Quan was holding a few pieces of paper that looked like cards. "This is called the 12 Saint Seiya card. It has your favorite Flame Emperor battle team on it. This card is very beautiful." Zhou Quan took it out as if he was presenting a treasure. "What? Flame Emperor?" When the Oriole heard this, it completely forgot that it was still angry and immediately snatched the card. The Oriole liked a Flame Emperor very much, but the origin of a Flame Emperor was too mysterious. As a young girl, she was always interested in mysterious things. The more this was the case, the more supporters of a Flame Emperor would have. The Oriole inquired for a long time, but did not find any news about Flame Emperor. Zhou Quan's 12 Saint Seiya card really caught the Oriole's appetite. The so-called 12 Saint Seiya card was actually a special magic card. It had illustrations of the 12 champions of this year's monthly competition and a brief introduction. The magic card was made of beast skin and was specially drawn with beast blood. Compared to ordinary cards, the characters on this special magic card could move. Take the August Flame Emperor Saint Seiya card as an example. It vividly drew the appearance of a Flame Emperor and Flame Emperor. As long as the card was shaken, the illustration of Flame Emperor on it would change and release flames, best water mist magic and flames, wind slash. It really is Flame Emperor, that's great. For the sake of a Flame Emperor, I will forgive you this time. The Oriole was very happy and kept playing with the card in her hand. Zhou Quan's card set was given to him by Yunxing for free, but the price of such a card set was not low. A set of beast skin 12 Saint Seiya card set was sold for as high as 20 gold coins. After the Oriole got that set of cards, he was in a good mood, and he forgave Zhou Quan right away, which moved him to tears and snot. Not only were there 12 Saint Seiya cards, but there were also a large number of other things that came along with them. For example, 12 Saint Seiya dolls, 12 Saint Seiya cards, 12 Saint Seiya mage robes, 12 Saint Seiya teacups, and all kinds of other things. A few days before the start of the annual competition, the streets and alleys of Sky Wing City were filled with them. The daughters of the aristocratic families and the wives of the officials who came to watch the competition were especially fond of these little toys. Almost everyone had a set. Some of them even bought more than 10 sets at once, saying that they would bring them back to their friends. These trinkets quickly attracted the attention of the relevant people in the city lord's residence. In the end, it even alarmed the city lord of Skywing City. "Father, I was the one who found someone to make these things. I've given them a special name. They're called the peripheral souvenirs," Heaven's Winged Jade said respectfully. "I feel that this is a very good way to drive the performance of the arena, and I plan to expand it vigorously in the future. This is much easier than relying exclusively on the income of the arena." Heaven's Winged Jade took out an account book. This account book contained the money she had earned by selling the peripheral souvenirs in a short span of 10 days. So it's the damn things you made. How much money can you make with such unorthodox methods? Heaven's Winged Jade had a look of disdain when he heard this. During this period, he had also noticed that there were a lot of miscellaneous trinkets in the city. They were all things that women liked. Heaven's Winged Jade was certain that men would never like them. Oh, then why don't you take a look and see how much money I made from selling these miscellaneous things? Father, please take a look, Heaven's Winged Jade said sarcastically. The city lord of Skywing City took a look at the account book and was shocked. Within 10 days, just selling those miscellaneous trinkets had earned more than 200,000 gold coins. Heaven's Winged Jade hurriedly snatched the account book and took a look. He was also dumbfounded. Father, this is only the beginning. I still plan to find a few storytellers to specifically transcribe some of the most exciting scenes of the arena. When the time comes, I'll sell them. I've even come up with a name. It'll be called Skywing Gossip Weekly. Heaven's Winged Jade told her all about the method that Yunsheng had told her earlier. The city lord of Skywing City and his two good-for-nothing sons were dumbfounded. What peripheral souvenirs? What Skywing Gossip Weekly? They had never even heard of these terms before. Where did you hear these terms? Although peripheral souvenirs sound like they can make money, there's still some risk involved. The city lord of Skywing City was confused. Father, I came up with all of this. If you're worried about losing money, there's no need to worry. I'll be responsible for my own profits and losses. Heaven's Winged Jade looked very confident. The city lord of Skywing City thought about it. He had really lost a lot of money on this daughter of his. Given Heaven's Winged Jade's talent, just being the person in charge of the Yellow Wings competition zone was still a bit of a grievance for her. For the sake of losing money, he agreed to Heaven's Winged Jade's request. Her's idea is very good. How about this? From now on, you'll be in charge of the arena's peripheral and weekly reports. You two brothers have to do your best to cooperate with you, The two Skywing brothers looked depressed, but at their father's request, they had no choice but to agree to the city lord of Skywing City's order. Just like that, Heaven's Winged Jade obtained exclusive rights to the Skywing Arena's peripheral souvenirs and a series of weekly reports. After she left the city lord's residence, she immediately went straight to the inn to meet up with Yunsheng. Yunsheng, good news. I told father what you said, and he agreed to let me manage these businesses. Heaven's Winged Jade was actually still a little dizzy at this point. Yunsheng had suddenly found her and said that she had a good business to discuss with her. Yunsheng's business had a special term called fan economy. Heaven's Winged Jade did not know what fans were, but she still followed Yunsheng's instructions and found someone to customize a batch of peripheral souvenirs in a short period of time. The number of souvenirs in the first batch was very limited, only 100 sets. At that time, Heaven's Winged Jade was still skeptical that those little trinkets could really be sold at such a high price. However, much to Heaven's Winged Jade's surprise, those peripheral souvenirs were snapped up, and some people even directly requested to reserve the next batch. This immediately convinced Heaven's Winged Jade of this new business, which was why Heaven's Winged Jade went to the Skywing City Lord's residence to ask for the exclusive right to operate. According to the prior agreement between Yunsheng and Heaven's Winged Jade, if this matter was successful, Yunsheng and Heaven's Winged Jade would each share half of the income from the peripheral sales and the Gossip Weekly. In fact, to really calculate it, this was not the first time Yunsheng had used the arena and competition to make money. Thank you, everyone, for your tips and monthly votes. I'll be busy for a while. After I'm done, I'll update more often. Chapter 678. The last time, when Huang Ting was fighting against the Black Hussar Hunting Corps at the Hunter Citadel, Yun Sheng had used a magic scroll to record the battle situation of the finals. At that time, Yun Sheng had sold 500 magic scrolls, and the sales were booming. That was also the first time that Yun Sheng had a rough idea of the surroundings of the arena. At that time, Yun Sheng was still young and not very powerful, and she knew even fewer people. There were also very few exciting matches in the Hunter Citadel on the mainland. Yun Sheng had temporarily shelved that idea. But after coming to the Sky Wings arena, everything was different. That was why Yun Sheng had dared to give it a try. Sure enough, this test was no small matter. In the boundless continent, firstly, there were no televisions, and secondly, there were no computers. People's daily entertainment was very limited. At most, it was daily entertainment like blowing on candles, warming the bed, and giving birth to children. Yun Sheng's fan economy was really a great creation. However, what Yun Sheng did not know was that it was also because of that set of specially made 12 Saint Seiya cards that gave rise to a series of troubles during the annual competition with Dong Huang Linger. This was also the first time that the term fan economy had appeared in the boundless continent. Since ancient times, any new thing that came out of nothing would always cause a stir. After this incident in Skywing City, the terms souvenirs and gossip magazines gradually appeared on the mainland. And gradually, this kind of business also became a large-scale business. Because Tianyi Yu and Yun Sheng were the #1 crabbers in the boundless continent and had the advantage of the Sky Wings arena, they accumulated a large amount of wealth in the future. It was just that at this time, the two of them, who were still playing around, had not realized it yet. Yun Sheng, I really don't know how your brain works. How did you think of such a novel business? Tianyi Yu could not help but sigh. I thought of it on the spur of the moment. Yun Sheng secretly stuck out her tongue in her heart. She could not possibly tell Tianyi Yu that she had already gotten used to this so-called fan economy when she was in the modern world in her previous life. Before Yun Sheng transmigrated, when she was still a student in the School of Famous Medical Sciences, there was a girl in her dorm who was madly infatuated with a domestic idol star. That girl bought souvenirs and entertainment magazines that were worth tens of thousands of yuan. Although the continent was different now, human nature was still the same. There were many reasons for their popularity. Some contestants were born idols because of their eye-catching appearance. There were also some who were extremely powerful and were Hotian powerhouses. No matter which one it was, they would all have their own supporters. However, the popularity of the Flame Emperors was only because they were mysterious enough. Sometimes, a mysterious origin was the best selling point to keep people in suspense. That set of 12 Saint Seiya cards was designed by Yun Sheng by imitating the 12 constellation cards. The portraits of the characters on the cards were personally drawn by Dong Huang Linger, who was an expert in painting. And with the help of the magic medium, the effect was much better than what Yun Sheng had expected. After the Sky Wings arena sold the surrounding souvenirs, they sold very well. The business-minded Tianyi Yu even opened up a special area in the Yellow Wings competition zone, which increased the attendance rate in the arena to a certain extent. Especially that set of 12 Saint Seiya cards, which were sold in the hundreds every day. Among them, the August Flame Emperor card was the most popular. Many people came over and directly bought the card with the Flame Emperor drawn on it. Seeing that the sales were so good, Tianyi Yu followed suit and found someone to draw a whole set of cards for the contestants of the other competition zones, which was still selling very well. When the people in charge of the other zones saw that Tianyi Yu was making a fortune, their eyes glowed red. Unfortunately, the Skywing City Lord had already given the order that all the surrounding sales were to be handled by Tianyi Yu, so the others could only look on helplessly. In the blink of an eye, it was December. Skywing City became lively all of a sudden. Some of the city's nosy residents gathered at the city gates to watch the aristocratic families and royalty who had come to the Skywings Arena to watch the competition. In the sky, well-designed airships would occasionally appear, and flying magical beasts with extraordinary bloodlines would occasionally appear. They had all come to the Skywings Arena to watch the annual competition. All the inns in the city were filled to the brim. There were people everywhere. Ninth caller, we've already searched for many days. We've practically searched the entire Skywing city, but we still haven't found the whereabouts of that magical beast. It'll be hard to explain when we get back. The 5th and 9th callers walked on the bustling street. All of Skywing City was immersed in the lively atmosphere of the annual competition. Only the 2 callers from the Zao state weren't in a good mood. The 5th and 9th callers had already been in Skywing City for 4 or 5 months as representatives of the Zao state, but they still hadn't found any clues about the missing king-level magical beast. Wait. The 9th caller only said one word. The 9th caller didn't say it clearly. She still had to wait. She had a premonition that this annual competition might be her opportunity to discover the king-level magical beast. As the annual competition drew closer, that premonition in her heart became more and more obvious. Chapter 679. The 5th Lord hurriedly paid the vendor and sent him away. Asking the 9th Lord for money. She probably didn't even have that on her. What were you selling just now? The 5th Lord was so focused on talking that he didn't see what the 9th Lord had taken. This time, the Emperor Zao in red had specially instructed him to pay attention to the 9th Lord's actions. If there was anything strange, he had to report back as soon as possible. Ever since the 5th Lord met the 9th Lord, he had never seen her treat anything differently. Even last time, when the eldest son of the Skywing City Lord had invited the 2 of them to the treasure boat, which was filled with treasures, the 9th Lord had not spared them a glance. Honorable customer, that's the last set of 12 Saint Seiya cards. If you really want them, there's another set of papyrus cards. But the pictures are not as good as the previous set. This set only costs 5 gold coins. Seeing that business had come, the vendor hurriedly took out another set. The 12 cards were neatly placed on the table. The 9th Lord looked at the 8th card. There were 2 young women. Both of them were magicians. Just now, one of them was wearing a white magician's robe and had just used a fairy spell. Because she was wearing a mask, the 9th Lord, Hu Jiuxing, couldn't recognize the female magician's face. She repeatedly checked the spell that the young female magician had used, but she couldn't find any clues. However, the fairy spell that the young female magician had used was the purest form of fairy magic. Perhaps only a real fairy magician could use it. Could it be her? The 9th Lord muttered to herself. Just now, when she accidentally saw the champion of August's monthly tournament, Flame Emperor, especially the female magician in white, her chest tightened. The 9th Lord stared at the card in a daze. Ever since she parted ways with Yunxing in the immortal Zhu nation 5 years ago, she realized that she was a little different. That's impossible. She should still be in the immortal residence. The Elf Queen would never let a human girl leave the Elf Kingdom. Hu Jiuxing pushed the set of cards away in annoyance. Coincidentally, the 5th Lord walked in. He pretended not to see the messy cards, walked forward, and handed over an invitation card. The 9th main summon is an invitation from 2nd Young Master Tianyi Dong. He said that he's inviting us to watch the annual competition in the Skywings Arena's black and yellow divisions in 3 days. After the 2 main summons from the Zao state had come to Skywing City, Tianyi Dong had been thinking of ways to rope them in. Alas, the 9th Lord hated Tianyi Dong and kept rejecting his invitations. The 5th Lord thought that the 9th Lord would reject him again. Unexpectedly, the 9th Lord glanced at the invitation and said indifferently, "All right. Then I'll decline." Ha! You want to watch the annual competition. But haven't you always hated hunting magic beasts? The fifth summoner was surprised. The ninth summoner had been a little too abnormal recently. Who said that it has to be humans hunting magical beasts? Recalling the magical beasts she had seen in the breeding shed that day, the ninth summoner pursed her lips into a thin line under her mask. This time, Tianyi Dong had really prepared an astonishing competition that would shake the entire continent for everyone. She was actually looking forward to it. 3 days before the start of the annual competition, Yunsheng and Dong Huanglinger received a notice from the Skywings Arena. The two had to go to the Skywings Arena and participate in the drawing of lots to determine their team. Tianyi Jade had already informed them of this when the news of the annual competition had spread. Flame Emperor. Yunsheng and Dong Huanglinger put on their masks and headed to the Skywings Arena. In the freshly decorated annual competition lounge, several team members were already seated. As representatives of the Skywings Arena, the top-level annual competition, those who could enter this lounge were all the most outstanding contestants of the Yellow Wings division. Apart from being strong, these people had one thing in common, and that was pride. Among them, there was a pair of golden-haired male and female contestants who were the most eye-catching. This was a pair of contestants with very eye-catching appearances. The man and woman both had long blonde hair. The man was tall, handsome, and well-built, but he didn't have the kind of frightening physique that was full of muscles. The woman had long wavy hair and a charming appearance. Her figure was tall and curvy, and she had a pair of enchanting red eyes that emitted a flirtatious light. She was like a human-shaped Barbie doll. This team was the champion of the May monthly competition, Li Xinyue and Huangfu Shi of the Lionheart battle team. The two were both comrades and lovers. Whether it was in the arena or anywhere else, the two were the indisputable center of attention. Although there were other team members in the lounge, the two didn't pay any attention to them at all. Li Xinyue was still holding a set of cards in her hand. When she flipped to the August Saint, Flame Emperor card, she pouted and a fireball appeared in her hand, burning the card clean. Just two ugly people wearing masks. What right do they have to become the most popular team in this year's annual competition? What made Li Xinyue unhappy was the souvenirs that had suddenly become popular in Skywing City recently. Originally, when she saw that the Lionheart battle team had been drawn into the May Saint card, she had been happy for a while. Who knew that when she found out that Flame Emperor's card was the best-selling card, she was filled with anger. Needless to say, when she found out that the Flame Emperor had become the most popular team before the start of the annual competition, Li Xinyue couldn't hold it in anymore. She even directly criticized the person who had drawn the 12 Saint Seiya card, deliberately favoring the Flame Emperor. This was because she thought that the two Flame Emperor and Flame Emperor, who didn't dare to show their real faces, had drawn their legs longer than hers and their breasts bigger than hers. Xinyue, don't worry too much. They are the most popular team, but we are the team with the most potential. This is publicly acknowledged. Huangfu Shi comforted his female companion. The Lionheart battle team was indeed strong. In May, they had swept all their opponents and reached the top. Even Lu Qingqing and Gue Dao had lost to the two of them in the individual competition before they formed Willow Blade. Moreover, the two members of the Lionheart battle team easily defeated Lu Qingqing and Gue Dao. Comparatively, although the Flame Emperor won against Willow Blade, the two of them almost lost their lives at the last moment. This was an indisputable fact. What's more, when she won in the end, no one saw clearly how Lu Qingqing lost. Therefore, when the officials of the arena ranked Lionheart's potential, they placed him at the top of the list. Later, don't let me meet the Flame Emperor. Otherwise, I won't be nice to them. Li Xinyue was as proud as a princess. Yes, it's time to show them who's boss and let them know that the annual competition isn't something that the monthly competition can compare to. Huangfu Shi agreed. At this moment, Yun Sheng and Dong Huang Linger, who had disguised themselves as the Flame Emperor, had just entered the new competition zone. Chapter 680. As all the preparations for the annual competition were carried out in secret, this was the first time Yun Sheng stepped into the newly renovated competition zone after a few months. The arena could not be seen for the time being, but the lounge was much better than before. It was comparable to a 5-star lounge. "You're quite arrogant, making so many of us wait for the two of you." A mocking voice was heard as soon as she entered the lounge. "Flame, those two have been staring at us. It looks like they're not very satisfied with us. We didn't provoke them, right?" Flame keenly captured the source of the voice. A pair of very eye-catching contestants were staring provocatively at Flame Emperor, who had just entered. As Flame Emperor was not familiar with the new competition zone, the two of them took some time to find a place and arrived later than the other 11 teams. "Everyone is here. Let's start drawing lots to form the temporary team." Heavenly Winged Jade was in charge of the drawing of lots this time. She saw that Lionheart's people were not in a good mood and hurriedly stepped forward to stop them. After the drawing of lots, Heavenly Winged Jade also announced the competition rules for this combined annual competition. As this annual competition was a competition between humans and magical beasts, Heavenly Winged Jade also explained the ranks of magical beasts on the continent. The magical beasts in the Boundless Continent were ranked from rank 1 to 9, Commander-level magical beasts, and King-level magical beasts. As the representative of the continent's highest level of competition, Heavenly Wings Arena, most of the magical beasts in the Mysterious Wings division were ranked 7, 8, and 9. Magical beasts of this rank were rare in other places on the continent. As for the magical beasts that could fight their way into the final monthly competition, most of them were already commander-level magical beasts. The appearance of a king-level magical beast in the Mysterious Wings division happened in July. Due to the appearance of the king-level magical beast, the Mysterious Wings division was completely destroyed. Therefore, the remaining 4 months of the Mysterious Wings division could not be held as scheduled. Therefore, the magical beasts that won the monthly competition in the Mysterious Wings division were, to put it bluntly, only 6. Excluding the king-level magical beast that escaped, the magical beasts participating in this annual competition were the champions of the monthly competitions from January to June. After a joint discussion between the people in charge of the Heavenly Wings Arena, they decided to use a 4-on-1 format for the annual competition. There were 2 pairs of monthly contestants against a commander-level magical beast. After all, in terms of strength, a commander-level magical beast was much stronger than a sacred mage or a warrior below the martial ancestor level. Even if it was 4 against 1, the contestants only had a 50% chance of winning. When they heard that their opponent was a commander-level magical beast, most of the contestants revealed ugly expressions. When they woke up earlier, they all thought that the participants would at most be level 9 magical beasts. Who knew that the strength of the magical beasts in the Shuani district was actually so terrifying? It's just a commander-level magical beast. There's no need for 4 people. Lion and I are enough to deal with it, Lionheart's Li Xinyue said proudly. Li Xinyue and Huangfu Shi were both capable generals of a B-grade hunter corps on the continent in their early years. Because they despised the low income of the hunting corps, they decided to become competitive hunters. Compared with other players, the 2 of them have fought against Warring States commander-level magical beasts, so they won't have any problems this time. Flame Emperor looked at the 2 of them carefully. The man was tall and handsome, and the woman was sexy and enchanting. They were both eye-catching contestants, but other than this time, they had never offended each other. She didn't know where the strong hostility from the 2 of them came from. Li Xinyue was also paying attention to Flame Emperor. She was depressed to find that the 2 girls were indeed as drawn on the card. They were slightly more concave than her, and the parts that were supposed to be convex were much more convex than her. The two of them were also wearing masks. Just by standing on the arena casually, they had stolen the limelight. Li Xinyue and Huang Fushi were very dissatisfied when they thought about how the two of them would be in the limelight in the upcoming annual competition. The rules of the competition are that only 2 people are allowed to participate. No one is allowed to be special. Either participate or get lost. Tianyi Yu was also very dissatisfied with Lionheart's 2 people. The two of them were very arrogant and had offended her, the person in charge, just now. In the arena, the most taboo thing was to have people who thought they were invincible, but were actually nothing. Lionheart didn't dare to speak rudely after Tianyi Yu's rebuke. 12 groups of people went up to draw lots at once. The method of drawing lots was that the Heaven's Winged Jade's line of sight would place the 6 numbers, 1 to 6, in a hidden box. There were 2 of each number. The contestants who drew the same number would form a temporary team to fight against the corresponding magical beast in the Xianyi area. Lionheart's 2 people were the first to draw lots. They drew a 3. The other contestants also drew their numbers one after another. When it was Flame Emperor's turn, Flame Emperor was the representative to draw lots. As she drew, she thought to herself, anyone is fine, as long as it's not Broken Heart. She didn't want to form a temporary team with Broken Heart. However, fate didn't follow her wishes. When Flame Emperor opened the slip of paper that he drew, there was a 3 inside. The result was very clear. Flame Emperor and Lionheart formed the 3rd team. All the temporary team members had been confirmed. The new teams were the 1st to 6th teams of the 6 major teams. The specific battle against the magical beasts will be confirmed on the day of the annual competition, before the first round of the competition begins. Everyone has worked hard. In the next 3 days, please prepare well. Heavenly Winged Jade recorded the results of the draw and went to the arena to report. How unlucky. We drew the worst lot and met 2 people who are dragging us down. Li Xinyue tore the number from the draw into pieces and threw it at Flame Emperor. Hey, what do you mean? We don't know who's dragging who down. Flame Emperor was furious. Lu Qingqing was gone with great difficulty, and now these 2 people were here. Just thinking about these 2 peacocks participating in the annual competition was enough to make Flame Emperor feel hurt. Facing a commander-level magical beast was already troublesome enough. In this kind of situation, if they met a comrade with good teamwork, their chances of winning would undoubtedly be much higher. But if they were to clash with Lionheart, it would be good if the other party didn't stab them in the back. I'm talking about you guys. I don't know what method you used to win against Willow Blade. In my opinion, Willow Blade is much stronger than you guys, Wang Fushi said from the side. You guys. Flame Emperor was so angry that his face turned red. He really wanted to rush up and let the 2 of them see how strong they were. We'll know who's stronger and who's weaker in the competition. Flame Emperor didn't want to waste too much time on these 2 clowns. After the temporary team list was confirmed, the next step was to wait for the annual competition. Chapter 681. This year's annual competition was seen as a turnaround battle by Tianyi Dong, and it was also the most anticipated competition of the year in the Tianyi arena. In order to attract more spectators, Tianyi Dong began to send out invitations a month before the start of the annual competition. It also took a month for the arena to reopen some of the venues in the Xuanyi and Yellowwing divisions and build all kinds of ordinary seats and VIP seats. Tianyi Dong's invitations included the royal family, important ministers, aristocratic families, some large hunting corps, and the people in charge of the continent's top-notch hunting citadels. These people arrived in Tianyi City at the beginning of January one after another. Tianyi City, which was already very lively, had a large number of airships and flying magical beasts. The day before the annual competition, Tianyi Dong brought a few subordinates to the city gate to welcome a luxurious airship that had just descended from the sky. A pot-bellied middle-aged man came down from the airship. He spoke with a thick Eastern capital accent, and when he saw Tianyi Dong, he cupped his hands familiarly. "Brother Dong, I haven't seen you in 3 years, and your cultivation has improved. Left Minister is too polite. Did the East Emperor and the Empress Dowager not come together?" Tianyi Dong asked respectfully. This time, he even asked someone to deliver the invitation to the Eastern capital. Although the East capital existed in name only on the boundless continent, the East capital's heir apparent was still the one and only emperor on the continent. No matter how strong the rulers of the other 5 countries were, they could only be called emperors. Her Highness the Princess has been ill for a long time. The Emperor and the Empress Dowager were worried about her condition and didn't dare to leave, so they sent me to watch the competition. Although the left minister of the East capital was a civil official, he was very familiar with Tianyi City. The left minister had a luxurious courtyard in the East capital. A few years ago, when the East capital was still stable, the left minister would often bring a few beautiful concubines to Tianyi City to avoid the summer and winter. What, only second young master is here today? Why is Su de Guisho nowhere to be seen? Seeing that there were only people from Tianyi Dong around the airship, the left minister was a little curious. The minister of the left was also a top-notch figure. He was well versed in politics, and not only did he have connections with the arena's Skywing Dong and the treasure boat Skywing Tua, he even had some friendly relations with the hidden night pavilion Su Dogwa. Great National Master Su's situation this year is not very good. A few days ago, I heard that he was frightened and is recuperating in the pavilion. You're already so old, so the shock can be big or small, the eastern half of the Skywing Wings mocked. Crown Prince, you're here. Lord Baiming, thank you for specially coming to pick us up. The young woman looked at the boy lovingly. These 2 people were the new Crown Prince of Zhou State, Yi Beiqing, and his mother, Empress Wenren. Brother Ming, can you not call me Crown Prince? You can call me Beiqing. Before Mother left, she said that we are visiting incognito. We can't address each other by the way we address each other in the palace. Yi Beiqing looked at his elder brother with admiration. Yi Baiming and Yi Beiqing were 7 years apart. Before Yi Beiqing was 3 years old, he had never heard that he had a second brother. He had always disliked his eldest brother, Yi Beilian, because he always bullied him. However, a few years ago, Yi Beiqing met his second brother by chance. His second brother was handsome and skilled in martial arts. For a boy of his age, such an elder brother was worthy of being called an elder brother. Yi Beiqing wanted to be close to his second brother, but his second brother was very antisocial and he could never find a chance to get along with him. After his eldest brother passed away, he became the crown prince, and his second brother disappeared. This time, his mother mentioned by chance that his second brother was in Tianyi City. Coincidentally, the second son of Tianyi City's lord, Tianyi Dong, sent an invitation. Yi Di of Zhou State thought that at Yi Beiqing's age, it was time to broaden his horizons. Therefore, he ordered Empress Wenren to bring the crown prince, Yi Beiqing, to Tianyi City. Empress Wenren liked to keep a low profile and was unwilling to take the royal family's empty ship. Therefore, she rented an ordinary merchant ship, disguised herself as a commoner, and arrived at Tianyi City. I've already arranged accommodation. Please come with me, Empress and Crown Prince. Yi Baiming acted as if he did not hear and ordered Long Hua to prepare a carriage and clothes for the Crown Prince and Empress. Yi Beiqing's little face immediately darkened. Empress Wenren's eyes also dimmed. There was no kinship in the royal family. Could it be that Lord Baiming could not forget the past? The 2 of them, one adult and one child, were sent to the carriage. The carriage rumbled forward. Yi Baiming stood on the street, his back looking exceptionally bleak. Chapter 682. Following the arrival of the royal family and important officials from the Zhou state and later Qin, the envoys from the other countries also arrived. Only the Immortal Keeper nation didn't send anyone over. As for the Penglai nation, everyone knew that the Zhao state was the symbol of Penglai. Since the 5th and 9th representatives from the Zhao state had arrived, it was enough. On the day before the annual competition began, the 5 major countries, the eastern capital, and some important hunting groups all arrived. Early in the morning, Yunsheng and Dong Huang Linger walked out of the inn. Yunsheng, Linger, where are you going? Gu Feng and Qi also walked out. Yunsheng and Dong Huang Linger both looked embarrassed. In order to avoid Gu Feng and Qi, they had specially gotten up early, but they didn't expect to still be caught. We went to watch the competition, Dong Huang Linger stuttered. Ah, you got tickets. I envy you so much. I specially went to line up overnight to buy tickets, but I didn't get any. Gu Feng looked envious. The annual competition this time was fresh and had done enough promotion, so the tickets were unprecedentedly popular. The competition hadn't even started yet, but the tens of thousands of tickets, including the quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals tickets, were all sold out. Part of the reason the tickets were so popular was that Tianyi East had sent out a large number of invitations. Most of the royal family officials had brought their families along with them, and some hunting squads had even sent their elites over. Therefore, although the tickets for 10,000 people were said to be available, only 5,000 tickets were actually sold to the outside world. Moreover, the audience who could get one of these 5,000 tickets were mostly people with powerful backgrounds. Ordinary people didn't have any connections, so they couldn't even see the shadow of a ticket. Once it was snatched, it was quickly gone. That brat Gu Feng was also very anxious about this annual competition. He brought his belongings and waited outside the arena for a day and a night, but he didn't get a single ticket, which made him depressed for a long time. We only managed to get the tickets thanks to Big Sister Yu. Huh, Gu Feng, don't tell me you've learned from those young ladies that you're interested in a battle team? Yunxing teased when she saw Gu Feng's fanatical expression. Of course, I'm a crazy fan of Flame Emperor. I love Flame Emperor the most. Gu Feng took out a pile of cards. I bought almost all of Flame Emperor's souvenirs. Since last month, Gu Feng had been able to earn some prize money from the competitions he participated in. Moreover, the competition zone had relaxed the restrictions on magic healers, so Gu Feng had a lot of money to spend. However, this guy actually squandered all his money on souvenirs. Yunxing and Dong Huang Linger secretly rolled their eyes. However, Gu Feng still liked the Flame Emperor even though he didn't know the true identity of the Flame Emperor. This was really an ill-fated relationship. Dong Huang Linger's expression was also unfathomable. Hee, we will definitely tell you the highlights of the competition. It's getting late, we have to quickly enter the arena. Yunsheng was worried that if Dong Huang Linger continued to speak, she would reveal a flaw. Thus, the two immediately slipped away. Hey, come back early. You have to tell me the situation of Flame Emperor's competition. I'll be waiting for you guys. Gu Feng didn't give up and shouted a few times from behind. Looking at Yunxing's back, Qi Feng had an indescribable strange feeling in his heart. It seems like something is wrong. A quarter of an hour later, the Flame Emperor arrived at the Skywing Arena. Due to the special arrangement of the competition zone, all the contestants would only know about it at the very end. When the two walked into the arena, their first reaction was that it was huge. This was an arena that could accommodate 10,000 people at the same time. Just the diameter of the arena was over 3,000 meters. The entire arena, aside from the audience seats, was open air. At night, one could clearly see the stars and the moon. If a person were to walk into the arena, the first feeling they would have would be insignificant. It was said that such a design was made with demonic beasts in mind. The running and galloping speed of demonic beasts was much faster than that of humans. At the moment before the start of the competition, Flame Emperor and the other 11 groups of contestants didn't know the origin of the demonic beasts they would be facing. The competition officially began in the afternoon. There were people all around. The 10,000-seat arena was designed in a trapezoidal shape. The first row was a purple and gold seat, and those seated were all royalty and aristocratic dignitaries of various countries. Skywings East also sat in the first row. Behind the second row were the various large hunting groups and some wealthy merchants, and at the very end were the ordinary spectators. Flame roughly looked at the audience seats and saw the familiar Elder Hellion and Elder Yu. As for the other contestants, they probably didn't manage to buy tickets. Flame suddenly felt a gaze. She looked toward the first row and saw Yi Baiming. Beside Yi Baiming sat Empress Wenren and a young child. It looked like that was the newly ascended crown prince. Yi Baiming probably came today as a member of Zhou State's royal family. Yi Baiming looked at Yunxing and curled the corner of his lips. How could he look so devilish? The corner of Yunxing's mouth twitched, and she resisted the urge to give Yi Baiming the middle finger. She looked to the side again. Not good, the emperor called out softly, his voice a little anxious. What's wrong? Flame looked at the emperor. Why is that old guy here? The emperor also just noticed that the left minister of the eastern capital was sitting in the first row. She had always been at odds with the left minister, especially this time's marriage between the two countries. It was all the left minister's idea. Don't worry, you're wearing a mask, so he won't recognize you. When the time comes, just be careful not to reveal any flaws. Flame glanced at the left minister. There were only so many familiar faces in the first row. The one who came from the later Qin seemed to be an unfamiliar general. As for the immortal residents, as expected, no one was sent. Elves were different from humans. They were the closest race to demonic beasts. The elves of the immortal residents hated the competition between humans and beasts. They slowly walked into the arena. Looking at Lionheart's appearance, is he here to compete or to put on a show? Flame was comforted by Yunxing, and his thoughts calmed down. The two members of Lionheart were dressed in white today. The man was dressed like a welcoming guest, while the woman was dressed in a tight low-cut magician's robe. As soon as the two appeared, they heard a group of people in the middle row cheering. Lionheart will win. These were the hunting companions of Lionheart's two members when they were hunters in the early years. Today, they were all here to support the two. Did you see that? This is what it means to be popular. The two men from Lionheart had a proud look on their faces as they swaggered past Flame Emperor. What's there to be proud of? Aren't they just relying on their advantage in numbers? The Emperor muttered. Flame Emperor walked forward. A series of earth-shattering dragon roars and imposing roars came from the sky. The 10,000 people in the arena shook a few times. Flame Emperor is invincible. Flame Emperor will win. Chapter 683. Many hunters from the Heaven Extermination hunting group descended from the sky. Dozens of bat dragons roared at the same time. Everyone present was taken aback and began to whisper to each other. They had heard that Flame Emperor was a free team without any background, but they didn't expect them to have such a background. The Heaven hunting group was clearly supporting Flame Emperor. Hee, this is what I call popularity. Flame Emperor winked at Lionheart. Lionheart's two people didn't look too good. Suddenly, Flame Emperor and Lionheart's popularity were on par with each other in the 12 groups. Second young master, today's competition is unprecedented. Why haven't we seen the demonic beasts yet? The left minister's shifty eyes paused on Li Xinyue's snow-white chest for a moment before he stared at the two people from Flame Emperor. The winners of the 12 groups entered first. In order to maintain the mystery, the demonic beasts were still kept in the rearing sheds. Flame Emperor and Lionheart entered the arena together. Lionheart's two people had clearly dressed up today. They were wearing the most beautiful clothes. Not only Left Minister, but the rest of the audience were also eagerly waiting for the demonic beasts to enter after this unique opening show. Left Minister, don't be impatient. Look, the demonic beasts are here. Tianyi Dong stood up and clapped a few times. In the middle of the arena, a piece of ground slowly rose up and 6 huge beast cages rose up. The 6 beast cages were of different sizes. The smallest was only the size of a bird cage, while the largest was 5 or 6 square meters. It could be imagined that the sizes of the demonic beasts were also completely different. The outside of the cages was covered with magic cloth, blocking everyone's curious gazes. Even if someone used their divine sense to scan, it would be very difficult to see what was inside. Everyone, welcome to the annual competition. I am one of the referees for this year's competition, Hoth. The 6 demonic beasts are about to reveal their true faces. Let us look forward to the great battle between demonic beasts and humans. A man dressed like a beast man stood next to the beast cages. This person was the person in charge of the Profound Wing Arena. He was also a sacred beast summoner. Several martial artists came up and carefully carried the 6 cages to the side. One of the largest cages took a total of 10 martial artists and many levers to move. Yen, what do you think is in there? The size of each cage is different, so the difficulty should be different too. It doesn't seem fair. The smallest cage should have the weakest magical beast, right? Yen and Emperor discussed. The strength of a magical beast has no direct relation to its size. As a summoner, Yunxing knew better than the average person that in some situations, the smaller the magical beast, the more powerful it was. Anyway, I don't want to collide with the guy in the biggest cage. Looking at the size, what kind of magical beast do you think it is? The Emperor shivered. Her understanding of magical beasts was very limited. It could be a bear or an elephant type of magical beast. Yen was also sizing up the 6 cages. On the outside of the 6 cages, there were numbers from 1 to 6. Those who have formed the temporary battle team, please choose a member to come forward and draw lots. We will draw lots. Without waiting for the Emperor to say who would draw lots, Li Xinyue pushed Huang Fushi out. Why should you do it? The Emperor was unwilling to place her fate in the hands of these two people. Because we are stronger than you. Isn't it just a beginner sacred magician and a healing elf magician? During the competition, you still have to rely on us. Li Xinyue raised her eyebrows, her face full of arrogance. She and Huang Fushi were both strong attackers who were good at close combat. They had a great advantage when fighting against large magical beasts. Emperor, let them do it. When the time comes, they can't blame us for whatever they draw. Yen shook his head. The people from Lionheart thought that the Emperor was afraid of them and felt even more proud. Huang Fushi walked forward and quickly drew the number 3. The other 5 temporary battle teams also chose their magical beasts. Our luck is not bad. Cage number 3 is the smallest cage. It shouldn't be any powerful magical beast. Huang Fushi and the others showed a satisfied expression when they saw the number. Good, according to the order, each temporary battle team will come forward. Let us first announce the magical beast in cage number 1. It had to be said that Hoth of the Profound Wings division was very good at stirring up the atmosphere. His unhurried tone made the hearts of the audience and the mystical beasts in the arena rise to their throats. Cage number 1 was also the largest of all the cages for magical beasts. What bad luck to draw a big guy. The 4 contestants who drew cage number 1 were already muttering. The 4 of them braced themselves and walked forward. Hoth tore off the magical cloth covering the cage. Wow! Gasps could be heard from the entire arena. The magical beast in cage number 1 was a glacial raging elephant that was over 4 meters tall. Its 4 limbs were like 4 pillars made of ice and snow. 2 long teeth that looked like scimitars grew from the sides of the giant elephant's mouth, glinting coldly. A beginner commander glacial raging elephant. The Skywings arena is really going all out this time. Zhong Yi, who was sitting next to Yun Songlong, subconsciously rubbed his chin. As a summoner, he knew most of the magical beasts on the continent. Some high-level magical beasts were almost extinct on the continent. Even if they occasionally encountered a natural high-level magical beast, most of them had already been captured by the Zao state. This was just the first cage, and such a huge monster had already appeared. Who knew what kind of magical beasts would appear in the next 5 cages? To be able to see a rare commander-level magical beast in the Xianhuang Division's annual combined tournament, just this point alone was worth the price of the ticket. Master Zhong Yi, is this magical beast very powerful? Oriole couldn't help but ask. She only hoped that the most powerful magical beasts would be drawn away as soon as possible. That way, Flame Emperor would have a much higher chance of winning. The giant elephant's body was like a moving wall. When they saw that giant elephant, the contestants of the first team all cursed in their hearts, F***CK. On the other hand, the other contestants all breathed a sigh of relief. They all took it for granted that the largest cage had already been chosen, so the following commander-level magical beasts would presumably be much safer. Actually, this raging elephant is just a facade. If I'm not wrong, it should be the weakest of the 6 magical beasts. Zhong Yi's gaze swept across the 6 cages. His gaze was fixed on the smallest cage and the medium-sized cages. Among magical beasts, the larger ones had a natural advantage, but correspondingly, they were less talented in certain aspects. Chapter 684. The glacier raging elephant belonged to the latter category. Then isn't Flame Emperor in trouble? Master Zhongren, tell us, what's so powerful about this raging elephant? Oriole asked anxiously. She was blindly fond of Flame Emperor and her mind was filled with thoughts of their victory. This type of magical beast has a heavy body. However, when it runs, it can activate a group attack spell called Glacier Roar. However, this type of spell requires some time to activate. As long as the opponent can control the spell, it will be fine. Zhongren's analysis was clear and logical. As he spoke, another magical beast cage was opened. Within the second magical beast cage was a raging flame lizard. This was also a type of magic beast that was at the level of a beginner commander. It was most proficient in spitting out magic thorns that contained poisonous gas. The fire thorns would explode in the air and no target within 100 meters would survive. The weakness of this type of magical beast was even more obvious. One only needed to attack it from 100 meters away. The second group heaved a sigh of relief. They had 2 magicians who were good at long-range magic attacks. It's our turn, cage number 3. Flame Emperor and Lionheart's people's hearts raced. Everyone, I don't know if I should congratulate you or, you have drawn the most beautiful magical beast. At the same time, it's also an extremely troublesome one. Hua Si was still in the mood to joke. He gently removed the magic cloth from the birdcage-sized draconic beast as if he was lifting the veil of a beautiful bride. Once the cloth was removed, many people in the arena couldn't help but stand up to take a closer look at the magical beast in the cage. Emperor couldn't help but cover his mouth. Li Xinyue also couldn't help but widen her eyes. Huasi had no choice but to call it the most beautiful magical beast. Even summoners like Flame Emperor and Zhongren had never seen a magical beast more beautiful than this little fellow in front of them. It was a small bird the size of a woman's palm. It had a body of incomparably beautiful golden-green feathers. Its beak and claws were red, and its tail had a pair of large, charming tail feathers. Under the sunlight, the feathers trembled, as if countless gold coins were shining. When the blue paradise bird courted a mate, it would either raise its head and arch its back, raising the golden feathers on both sides of its body, or it would hang upside down from a tree branch, shaking out its beautiful brocade feathers to attract a female bird. Hell bird. Grandmaster Zhongren, who was still analyzing the characteristics of the previous magical beast, suddenly opened his mouth wide. How can such a beautiful bird be called a hell bird? I feel that it should be called a bird of paradise. It's not inferior to phoenixes and peacocks. Oriole also saw the little fellow in the cage. It still seemed to have stage fright as it stood awkwardly in a corner of the cage. Sigh, that's because you were blinded by its beautiful appearance. It was such a small hell bird that had once killed 1,000-man hunting squad. Do you still think it should be called a bird of paradise? Zhongnik shook his head. Speaking of the hell bird, this bird wasn't originally called that. It was originally called the seven-colored lyrebird. Because of its beautiful voice, it belonged to a very special type of magical beast. But most of these lyrebirds have gone extinct. They rarely appeared on the continent. Because of this, some noble girls and women liked to raise these birds as a form of pride. About 200 years ago, one of the favored concubines of the later Qin emperor was determined to catch a seven-colored lyrebird. Later Qin emperor sent a 1,000-man army to an otherworldly forest to capture it. However, after entering the forest, the capture army, which was made up of mid-level warriors and several magicians, was strangely annihilated. When the army went to search for it, they only found a few beautiful birds flying among the mountains of corpses. Those birds were the hell birds of today. Yan Emperor and Lionheart's luck wasn't very good. Although the hell bird was the smallest of the three magic beasts announced earlier, it was undoubtedly the most threatening one out of the three. If they didn't find a way to win, Yan Emperor and Lionheart's group would probably perish under the wings of the hell bird. However, not everyone knew the origin of the hell bird. At the very least, Lionheart and Lionheart thought that they had drawn the best lot. Yan Emperor thought so too. She even pulled Yan Emperor and said, "Are we really going to compete with that bird later? It's so beautiful that I can't bear to kill it. A dog that barks doesn't bite. The more beautiful it is, the more vicious it is. We can't underestimate it." Although Yan Emperor didn't know the origin of the hell bird, it must have some ability to be called a hell bird. Yan Emperor didn't let down his guard. Even with his eyesight, he couldn't tell the strength of this magical beast. It seemed that this little fella's strength was more profound than the others. "Lionheart, that magical beast is too beautiful. After killing it, I'm going to use its feathers to decorate my magician's robe." Li Xingyue pointed at the caged bird arrogantly. "Everyone, this beautiful bird has a name that doesn't match its appearance. It's called the hell bird." Just when everyone was immersed in the beauty of the hell bird, Huasi, who was standing at the side, couldn't hide the slyness in his eyes. Apart from a few people, no one noticed the gloating look in Huasi's eyes. Anyone who underestimated the hell bird and tried to obtain its beautiful feathers would have to pay the price in blood. After the announcement of the magical beast in cage number 3, the magical beasts in cages 4 and 5 were also revealed. It was a mid-level commander magical beast, the three-headed hound. When he saw the three-headed hound, Yan Emperor couldn't help but think of Xiao He from the beast language ring. However, compared to the three-headed hound, Xiao He was taller and had a more frightening aura. The three-headed hound was also the only dark magical beast among all the magical beasts. It had the speed of the wind. The one in cage number 5 was a thunder wolf. It could spit out lightning bolts that were no less than a few thousand volts. The first 5 cages had been revealed, leaving cage number 6 as the only one that hadn't been announced. Due to the appearance of the gigantic glacier raging elephant and the incomparably beautiful hell bird, most people's attention was drawn away. No one paid special attention to what was in the 6th cage. Based on the size of cage number 6, many people guessed that there should be a magical beast the size of a horse inside. Everyone, it's finally the final moment. After announcing this magical beast, we will immediately enter the first round of the annual competition. The magical beast in cage number 6 will be announced immediately. Huasi's voice was filled with urgency. It wasn't just for the upcoming competition, but also for the last cage. With a trembling hand, he tore off the last piece of magical cloth. Chapter 685. The red magical cloth slid to the ground. The magical beast in the 6th magical beast cage had revealed its true appearance. Horse. It was indeed a horse, but in the next moment, everyone realized that the magical beast in the 6th cage was no ordinary horse. That is, Yen saw a magical beast that was somewhat similar to a horse. It had slender and muscular limbs, and its hair was as flawless as the snow of the Northern Kingdom. There was a tuft of red hair on its forehead, and its eyelashes were like butterfly wings. Its eyes were like a human's, full of wisdom. There was a spiral horn on its forehead. A unicorn. This was the first time Yen had seen such a magical beast. But immediately, Yen denied her own thoughts. It was a unicorn. A name immediately popped into her mind. Among the 6 magical beasts participating in the annual competition, one of them was actually an adult unicorn. A unicorn was a very special magical beast, or it could be called a semi-divine beast. This magical beast was also Horsey's favorite magical beast. He had even given it a name, Dawn. The spectators were also unable to take their eyes off the cage. The Heaven's Wings arena was indeed rich and imposing, to actually have such a magical beast. The Hellbird and the Light Unicorn were both the most beautiful magical beasts. But the beauty of the two was completely different. The Hellbird was like a fiery phoenix from hell, radiant and eye-catching. The Light Unicorn, on the other hand, had a noble beauty. The imprisoned unicorn was unbearable to look at. Oh my, it's actually a light unicorn. Sigh, it would be great if Flame Emperor could draw this magical beast. Zhong Yi couldn't help but sigh when he saw the beautiful creature imprisoned in the cage. Why? Master Zhongren, could it be that the unicorn is not the most powerful of these magical beasts? Even Yan Kei, who was not a summoner, knew that the rank of the unicorn should be the highest among all the commander-level magical beasts. It was said that the Unicorn King was one of the top magical beasts among the king-level magical beasts. It was also the magical beast closest to a divine beast, because it had received the blessing of light from birth. Unicorns were natural light magical beasts. That's because unicorns are the most peace-loving magical beasts. Unless they're forced to their limits, they won't attack humans. Hence, it's actually not difficult to defeat a unicorn. The Zone personality sighed. Compared to the other 5 magic beasts in the cages, this unicorn looked the most dazzling, and its grade was also the highest. However, Zhong Yi was certain that this unicorn was the most harmless. The 6 magical beasts had revealed their true appearances. They were the first glacial raging elephant, the second lava lizard, the third hellbird, the fourth three-headed hound, the 5th thunder wolf, and the 6th radiant unicorn. After seeing their opponents in the first round, most of the contestants had different expressions. Hoth stepped forward and removed the magic restriction on the cages. In order to prevent the magical beasts from being frightened, every cage was enchanted with a special spell before being transported out. As soon as the restriction was lifted, the cage door opened. Awoo! The glacial raging elephant was the first to show its might. Its long trunk, which was as flexible as an arm, tore the cage apart and ran out. The elephant's size and weight were equally shocking. With every step it took, the whole arena shook non-stop. Following that, the remaining few magical beasts also came out of their cages. The hell bird with beautiful feathers also flapped its wings, like a playful girl, and came out of the cage. The unicorn in the sixth magical beast cage was the most reserved one. It tentatively lifted its front leg and walked out. Its posture was just like an empress of the royal family. The magical beasts were fine when they were in their cages. However, as soon as they came out of their cages, the pressure of the commander-level magical beasts was like the weight of Mount Tai. Seeing the 6 magical beasts, Flame Emperor, and the other contestants from the other 11 groups all took a deep breath. Although they already knew that their opponents were commander-level magical beasts, when the 6 commander-level magical beasts stood together, the pressure of the magical beasts was still very scary. Among the 12 groups of contestants, one group's knees went soft, and they lost their composure and directly fell to the ground. There was a wave of boos from the audience. The battle between humans and beasts hadn't even started, and the champions of the monthly tournament were already showing signs of stage fright. Useless things. It's just a group of magical beasts. What's there to be afraid of? The 2 from Lionheart mocked disdainfully. Everyone, the lineups of both sides have come out. Let me explain the rules of this annual tournament to everyone. Tianyi Dong loved the feeling of being the center of attention. He quickly condensed his fighting aura into wings and moved from the audience to the highest position on the stage. Tianyi Dong's roar was accompanied by the effect of the Skywing City Lord's unique battle record, Sky-Shaking Roar. Under the roar, everyone's attention was unconsciously focused on him, and no one paid any attention to the contestant who had lost his composure. Hoth took the opportunity to help that contestant up and encouraged him from the side. First of all, on behalf of the entire Skywing City, this young master welcomes the 10,000 distinguished guests seated here. It is you who have made the first annual tournament of humans and beasts of the Skywing Arena unprecedentedly exciting. His hawk-like eyes looked around the arena that could hold 10,000 people. Once again, on behalf of my father and the entire arena, this young master thanks the 24 brave warriors present. Finally, out of consideration for the special nature of this tournament, this annual tournament will use 2 methods to determine the victor. The first method is a pre-match forfeiture system, where all contestants have a chance to forfeit before the start of the match. The second method is a life-or-death match. Once the match begins, no person or magical beast can withdraw midway. It will be a fight to the death. What? Tianyi Dong's words had a completely different flavor in the ears of the contestants and the audience. The audience was naturally happy to see this. A life-or-death match, a fight to the death, was a rare opportunity, and the battle was bound to be very intense. They had come to the Skywing Arena to see something different, and the more bloody and violent, the better. The other arenas on the continent all used the rules of stopping when it came to a point. But it was different for the contestants. There was only one chance to forfeit, which meant that after one forfeit, the following match would be a fight to the death. This was clearly different from the rules of the Skywing Arena. The original rules of the competition were that as long as a contestant voluntarily forfeited, the match could be terminated at any time. Tianyi Dong's new rules were clearly a game of slaughter. Either the contestants would survive by killing the magical beasts, or the contestants would die in the mouths of the beasts. No. We don't agree. Nearly half of the 24 contestants expressed strong dissatisfaction. It was a pity that the ring had been taken away by Elder Hellion. When the emperor saw this, he couldn't refuse. He imitated Yen and took a sip. "Heh, you must be the Flame Emperors. I have high hopes for you. I didn't know that a woman could be so bold." Seeing that the Flame Emperor was not bashful at all, the boorish man Qin Yongan smiled until his face was full of wrinkles. They were enemies in the arena, but friends outside the arena. This was a typical competitor. Just like that, the wine pouch was passed down. Everyone felt as if they were fellow sufferers. However, when Li Xinyue heard about it, she threw away the wine pouch. "It's so dirty. Why are you still drinking at a time like this? Are you all in a rush to drink?" Li Xinyue's words were like scolding someone to death. At this critical juncture, it was simply touching someone's bad luck. When Qin Yongan heard this, blood rushed to his head. "Woman, is there something wrong with your brain? That's my wine. Get lost." He rolled up his sleeves and was about to argue with Li Xinyue. "Qin Yongan, don't you dare touch her." Huang Fushi cast a sidelong glance at Qin Yongan. His opponent's cultivation was lower than his. "Brother Qin, forget it. It's just a pouch of wine. When the competition is over, I'll treat you to the best elven fruit wine if there's a chance." Yen moved forward and pulled Qin Yongan back. Qin Yongan was not willing to let this go. However, he realized that his hand was held down by Yen and could not move at all. Only then did Li Yong realize that although the lass looked weak, she was not simple at all. It was said that the Flame Emperor was just a name. It seemed that it was just a rumor. To be able to participate in the annual competition, none of them were weak. Li Yong looked rough, but there was a finesse in his roughness. He had a good eye for people. "Elven fruit wine. Then I'll let it go for your sake. I'll wait for that cup of wine." Li Yong chuckled, giving Yen face. "Let's talk about it later if you're alive to drink that cup of wine." Li Xinyue interrupted. "Woman, I dare you to say that again." Qin Yongan's anger was stirred up again. Fortunately, the first round of the competition was over. The first round of the competition is over. The second round of the competition is about to begin. Team 2, please come out. A staff member of the arena walked in. As soon as he came in, the other contestants immediately surrounded him. "Who won?" Huang Fushi asked anxiously. "The glacier wild elephant was killed. However, among the 4 members of Team 1, 1 is dead, 1 is injured, and 2 are alive. The person who was injured at the last moment was trampled by the berserk wild ice elephant and had his spine crushed. I'm afraid he'll be bedridden for the rest of his life." The staff member announced mechanically. Such a tragic result still caused everyone present to be slightly surprised. This piece of news made the earlier conflict seem insignificant. Team 2, hurry up and come out. Team 3, get ready. The annual competition would last for an entire day. The duration of the competition depended on the strength of the magical beasts and the contestants. The first round of the competition lasted for less than an hour. According to this calculation, it would soon be the third round of the competition. The third round of the competition would be between Team 3 and the Hellbirds. However, before the second round of the competition ended, there was another piece of news. The first round of the competition had a direct impact. After the news of Team 1's death spread, the odds of the betting tables controlled by the Hidden Night Pavilion suddenly skyrocketed. The odds, which were originally in favor of the contestants, suddenly changed. When the second round of the competition began, the odds had changed from the initial 1 to 3-1. In this round, several teams couldn't hold back anymore. Li Yong and the others went out to watch the competition. Under Yan's persuasion, Huang meditated in the resting room. The second round of the competition lasted longer than the first. About 1.5 hours later, the results of the competition were finally out. Team 2 has lost. The lava lizard's attack power is shocking. Chen Yangon announced the result as soon as he came in. He was no longer in the mood to drink and joke. His expression was serious. The second magical beast, the lava lizard, had thick skin. The contestants couldn't take it down for a long time and used up a lot of energy. At the last moment, the lava lizard released a high-level spell, Lava Volcano. The situation was very tragic. Of the 4 contestants, 2 were dead and 2 were injured. The lava lizard won. With such a result, the already tense atmosphere in the contestant lounge became even more oppressive. Chapter 687. The betting odds outside are already 5-1. What a scam. Everyone has been scammed this time. Chen Yangon was already regretting going out to watch the competition. His confidence was obviously shaken. The second team suffered a crushing defeat. Chen Yangon watched as 2 of the contestants were swallowed by the lava. He watched as they wailed, struggled, and turned into a pool of blood. The scene was too horrible to watch. Flame Emperor and Lionheart did not go out to watch the competition. Lionheart did it because he had absolute confidence in winning. Flame Emperor did it because he wanted to have enough time to meditate and accumulate more mana. The third match is about to begin. Third team, please enter the arena. The staff urged. It had begun. Flame Emperor and Flame Emperor looked at each other and saw a trace of encouragement in each other's eyes. After so many matches, Flame Emperor's tacit understanding with him was already very high. He was comparable to some veteran hunters who had worked together for many years. Be smart later. If you can't win, then scram. Don't get in our way. Li Xinyue's beautiful mouth spat out stinging words. Without our consent, you are not allowed to forfeit. Otherwise, we won't let you off easily. Huangfu Lionheart also glanced at Flame Emperor. Since they were from the same team, either side had the right to forfeit. Lionheart was certain that Flame Emperor would be a burden. Flame Emperor, do your best. I have high hopes for you. Chen Yangon pouted at Lionheart in dissatisfaction. He really wanted to punch Lionheart's disgusting face into pieces. After 2 matches, it was already noon. The sun was shining brightly in the sky. Because Skywing City was located in the sky, the sun's radiation was also much stronger than other places. Despite the magic array, the temperature of the arena's ground had already reached over 30 degrees Celsius due to the strong sunlight. The arena had specially prepared half an hour of tidying up. During this time, most of the audience bought some snacks and discussed the 2 matches. The arena had already been cleaned up, but there was still a trace of sulfur smell left in the air. This was the trace left behind by the advanced fire magic, Lava Volcano. Half an hour was enough for the temporary team to arrange their battle strategy. You're called Flame Emperor, right? Later, you will buff us with wind magic. As for you, I heard that you know how to use elven magic. Later, use your magic to confuse the hellbirds, Li Xinyue said in a bossy tone. We've already done everything. What are you doing? The Emperor was very dissatisfied with Li Xinyue's tone. In the arena, the person who ran out of mana first was more likely to lose. The 2 of us are the finale. Otherwise, do you think the 2 of you can defeat a commander-level magical beast? Li Xinyue said disdainfully. Chapter 688. Among the 4 members of the third team, the most miserable one was Li Xinyue. She had worn revealing clothes in order to look good, and now she had become the focus of the birds. Her snow-white skin was immediately covered in blood and flesh. "Don't come over, go away." Li Xinyue was obsessed with her beauty, and only knew how to frantically wave her magic scepter, continuously releasing magic. "Xinyue, calm down." Huang Fushi was anxious. If Li Xinyue used up all her magic, it would be troublesome later. In the annual competition, the use of magic potions was strictly prohibited. Fortunately, at this time, the originally thin fog suddenly became much thicker. The arena immediately fell into a hazy fog, and the birds' attacks were greatly reduced due to their vision being obstructed. Taking advantage of the thickening fog, the 4 people in the arena heaved a sigh of relief. Yen also frowned. The hell birds were indeed worthy of their reputation. Although she did not know whether the hundreds and thousands of birds were real or fake, if this continued, whether it was in terms of magic or mental strength, the 4 of them would collapse. "Yen, are you okay?" Not far away, the Emperor's concerned voice sounded. "It's nothing, just a small injury." After being reminded by her companions, Yen looked at her hand. Due to the protection of the magic robe, where she was injured, Yen paid attention to her injuries and found that there were a few deep scars left behind. Yen looked at the wounds on her hand strangely. Yen was different from the average person. Because she had the Fictional medical bracelet, as long as it did not hurt her bones, she could recover in a quarter of an hour. It was just a few pecks, and logically speaking, there should not be such serious wounds. Could it be? Yan's eyes darkened. Those birds and these wounds were just illusions. Magical beasts were different from humans. They had many unique aspects in terms of magic. Some magical beasts were even proficient in illusions. Yen was able to see through the illusions so quickly because she had fought with the Night Demon Queen before. "Emperor, don't be nervous. Try to conserve your magic and pay attention to hiding. Let the 2 idiots from Lionheart do it." After confirming that the Hellbirds group attack was just for show, Yen calmed down. However, dragging on like this was not a solution. Due to the Hellbird's special magic, the 3rd round of the competition took longer than the previous 2 rounds combined. They had to see through the illusion and find the real Hellbird. Only then would they be able to obtain victory. Yen narrowed his eyes. His Shinongai stared at the countless bird figures in the fog. She was certain that the Hellbird's magic was not to be underestimated. Even with Shinong's pupil, it would be difficult for her to see through it. There had to be another way. Yen calmed himself down and thought of a countermeasure. Suddenly, she remembered something. Yes, the dark gold-ranked teacher had said that no matter if it was a mage or a magical beast, as long as they used magic, there would be traces. As long as it's a magical beast, it will have a magical soul, even if it's an illusion. Only a hellbird with magical waves around its body is a real hellbird. Yen suddenly understood. She closed her eyes and used the celestial meditation that her dark gold mentor had taught her. The surrounding fog disappeared, and so did the chirping of the birds. Yen's surroundings became a blank space. Yen saw a magical fluctuation. Although it was weak, there was only one magical wave in the dense flock of birds in the sky. That was it. Yen gripped the magic scepter with a backhand grip, and his eyes suddenly opened. She held the magic scepter in her hand and gathered strength in her arm. Yen chanted and used the magic scepter as an arrow to cast the magic sealing arrow. The thick fog blocked the view, and also partially blocked the hellbird's vision. When it realized the danger, the enigmatic scepter hit the hellbird's chest. The hellbird fell from the sky. At this moment, the fog in the arena dissipated. What the audience saw was the hellbird shrieking miserably and falling from the sky. There was a magic scepter that was not much bigger than a thumb in its chest. This. Who could tell them what had happened? No one even knew who had cast the magic scepter. Looking around the arena, only Yen was missing a magic scepter. The other 3 people in the arena still had lingering fear. The hell bird was dead, and the damage inflicted on them by the illusion also disappeared. Because of their earlier resistance, the 2 members of the Lionheart team, who had originally been very elegant, were now all ruined. When Li Xinyue and Huang Fushi saw that it was Yen who had killed the hell bird, their faces were as black as the bottom of a pot. Referee Horse's lips trembled, and a look of surprise appeared on his face. Horse was one of the few people in the arena who knew about the hell bird's illusion combat skills. He hurriedly went forward to check and found that the hell bird was already dead, and that the magic scepter had a partial magic sealing effect. Horse pulled out the magic scepter with a strange expression. Then, he walked in front of the 4 people and announced to the entire arena, "The Flaming Lion team wins the 3rd match." This match lasted for a long time, but it ended abnormally quickly. The audience did not expect that the hell bird, which looked extremely powerful and flawless, would be shot to death by a mere magic scepter. After the audience reacted, they immediately began to discuss wildly. "Sigh, this is a loss for me." Prime Minister's face was full of displeasure. He had bet 5,000 gold coins on the hell bird. Minister's is rich. It's only 5,000 gold coins. There will be more exciting matches later. Tianyi Dong chuckled. In the corner of the ordinary seats in the arena, the 5th and 9th summoners also witnessed the entire process of this match. Although they had received Tianyi Dong's invitation, the 9th summoner did not sit in the VIP seats. Instead, he chose to sit in the back row, so no one noticed that 2 important figures of the Zhao state were actually sitting in the ordinary seats. I didn't expect that an ordinary master magician could see through the hell bird's illusion. The 5th summoner was filled with emotion. Although the hell bird was not the most powerful magical beast, it was still very powerful. However, his illusionary techniques were real. Even beginner and intermediate summoners of the Zhao state would be at a disadvantage in front of the hell bird's illusion. Seeing through the illusion doesn't require any high-level magic. It only requires a firm heart. The 9th summoner's gaze flickered as he stared at Yen, who was preparing to leave the arena. Was it her? The 4 people returned to the lounge. "Little girl, you're amazing. How did you know that was the real hell bird?" As soon as he entered the lounge, Yen was surrounded by the remaining contestants. Under the premise of the bad news of the 1st and 2nd matches, the fact that the Flaming Lion team could preserve all 4 of their members and win the 3rd match was a shot in the arm for the other Xian beasts. Chapter 689. What's so great about that? She was just lucky and randomly shot it. Li Xinyue saw that everyone was praising Yen, and her mouth was full of jealousy. Then go shoot it if you have the ability. Who was the one who randomly released magic just now? If it weren't for this lady's agility, I would have been killed by your magic instead of being injured by the hell bird, Emperor sneered at the side. What a joke. Just now, the fog was hazy, and Li Xinyue randomly released fire explosion. If Dong Wanglinger hadn't dodged quickly, she would have been burned to death. Isn't that so? Some people are very powerful, but when they go on stage, they become cowards. Chen Yangon also took the opportunity to mock. If you have the ability, let's see who's the real deal in the next round. Li Xinyue had a stomach full of anger. No need to be proud. This time, it's your win. However, you won't be so lucky in the next round. Huang Fushi pulled Li Xinyue away. No matter what, they had already entered the next day's semifinals. Today's matter was a little strange. Huang Fushi was also very doubtful about how Yen had recognized the hell bird's true whereabouts. Could it be that he really had something extraordinary about him? If that was really the case, then he would have to use some underhanded tricks in the next round. The fourth team's match also ended very quickly. In the match with the three-headed demon dog, it was actually a draw. The four team members all lost their ability to fight, and at the same time, the three-headed demon dog also fainted. The battle was unprecedentedly intense, and the audience in the arena was very carefree. Immediately after, the fifth team went on stage and faced the Thunder Wolves. But it was only a quarter of an hour. Sixth team, it's your turn. The third match had just ended. The staff quickly walked in. What's going on? The match ended so quickly. Chen Yangon still wanted to ask Yen for advice on how to deal with a commander-level magical beast. The fifth team forfeited, and the audience is making a ruckus. Second young master wants you to quickly go on stage. The staff looked impatient. The fifth team actually forfeited. This result was very surprising to everyone. According to the rules that Tianyi Dong had announced before the match, there were only two ways to end the match. Forfeit before the match, or die in the match. However, every team only had one chance to forfeit. The fifth team chose to forfeit. Although they managed to preserve their lives, they had no way out for the rest of the competition. After taking a few steps forward, Chen Yangon suddenly turned around and walked in front of Yen. Then, he pulled out a bag of gold coins. If I'm not wrong, you should be from the Heaven-Felling Hunting Corps, right? Just now, when the Flame Emperor appeared, the people from the Heaven-Felling Hunting Corps shouted loudly. Chen Yangon saw that Yan's style of doing things was very heroic, and he could tell that he had been in the Hunting Corps before. Yen did not deny it. Even though she was no longer in the Hunter Corps, she was still a hunter. As a hunter, he should not refuse a mission under any circumstances. Seeing that Yen did not deny it, Chen Yangon was even more relieved. He entrusted Yen with a mission at the last minute. Over the years, he had gone through life and death in the Skywing Arena, saving up 100,000 gold coins, which was 10,000 purple coins. He used 1,000 gold coins to pay Yen Dang's commission fee. If he could return after the competition, Yen would keep the gold coins for him temporarily. If he met with an accident in the arena, he hoped that Yen Dang could collect his corpse. When she left the Skywing Arena, she would send his ashes and those gold coins to Later Qin, to a woman called Li Qin in Later Qin. I'm not at ease leaving it to others, so I'll leave it to you. Chen Yangon smiled foolishly. Big brother Chen, you will win. Unicorns usually don't take the initiative to attack people. As long as you don't provoke it, you'll still have a chance to tie, Yen encouraged. My intuition is very accurate. I keep feeling that something bad is about to happen. Chen Yong'an's expression was as usual, as if they were talking about someone else's life and death. Everyone who came to the Skywings Arena had their own difficulties that they had no choice but to do. When Chen Yangon entered the Skywing Arena alone to participate in the competition, he knew that there would be a day when he would die in the arena. He did not fear death, but the long-cherished wish in his heart had not been fulfilled, so he was somewhat unwilling. In the arena, the spectators cursed him for being a coward, and the fifth team could only retreat dejectedly, not daring to utter a word after returning to the lounge. In the first 4 matches, the magical beasts had won 2, the teams had won 2, and the other had tied. However, the first team that had fought the Glacier Raging Elephant only had 2 people left, and the outcome was already decided. Although the fourth team had tied, they had no way of competing the next day in their exhausted state. The only teams that could truly enter the next day's competition were the first, third, fifth, and the 6th team that was about to take the field. Even Tianyi Dong, who had arranged the competition, had not expected such a situation. It was already dark, and before the start of the last match, Tianyi Dong called Tianyi Yu over, accompanied by Kong Fei. What's going on? Look at the contestants of the Yellow Wings division. How could they be so weak? Tianyi Dong called Tianyi Yu over and fiercely reprimanded her. These contestants have all been through hundreds of battles and are definitely not weak. Tianyi Yu cast a sidelong glance at Kong Fei. I feel that there's something wrong with the magical beasts in the division. She had noticed earlier that this time, the magical beasts could be said to have performed exceptionally well. Especially in the arena, they were incomparably ferocious. What problem can there be? The Yellow Wings division has never been strong. Second young master, you don't have to worry. These magical beasts are so valiant that even if all the contestants are defeated, with this batch of magical beasts, the Black Wings division will definitely make a fortune next year. Kong Fei gloated. Today's competition is almost over. We can only check the situation of the magical beasts tomorrow. Tianyi Dong looked at the restless spectators and felt a headache coming on. After Chen Yong'an's warning, he strode out with several comrades. Let's go out and take a look, the emperor suggested. In any case, today's competition was already over, and the two from Lionheart followed him out. In the arena, the light unicorn still maintained its original form, its posture graceful. The members of the sixth team walked into the arena. Refund. Refund. Due to the forfeiture incident in the previous round, many spectators were clamoring for a refund. Everyone. At the critical moment, Judge Huasi waved his hand, a meaningful smile on his lips. Huasi is willing to guarantee with his life that the next round will definitely be more exciting than the previous ones. Yen, aren't unicorns the most peaceful magical beasts? Why does that judge mean that there's going to be a tough battle next? The emperor tugged at Yen. The legend of unicorns had a long history on the continent. It's hard to say. The hellbird earlier also looked harmless. If I'm not wrong, the lower the serial number, the stronger the magical beast. Yen also stared at the unicorn. The competition has officially begun. Huasi's voice fell. Chapter 690. That seemingly peaceful unicorn suddenly raised its front legs and leaped high into the air. Its horn and the moon in the sky merged into one, reflecting a dazzling ray of light. It actually released a magic beast battle technique the moment it entered the arena. Hoo! The light unicorn let out a long neigh. A magical ripple spread out rapidly from the center of the arena. The 5th, 9th and Zone personalities' eyebrows twitched. They couldn't help but look at the ring in their hands. Yan's hand tightened and he blurted out, "Summon." Any summoner would have felt the wave of magical wave emitted from the unicorn at that moment. That was a special magical wave that only a summoner would emit. This light unicorn was actually a magic beast that could be summoned. A black fog appeared in the arena. The fog was getting thicker and thicker. From within, a tall and strong pure black unicorn galloped out. It had a red mane, bright red eyes, and a streamlined body. It was a rarely seen dark unicorn. Not good. It's a red blood unicorn. The red blood unicorn was also known as an anomaly among the unicorns. Only one red blood unicorn would appear in 1,000 unicorns. Red blood unicorns were different from other unicorns. They were cruel by nature. They used blood as water and flesh to survive. Once a red blood unicorn appeared, it meant death and disaster. The 4 contestants also realized what kind of demon they were facing. Chen Yong'an's voice was hoarse as he clenched his fist. "Brothers, life and death and glory are at this moment. We can't retreat." The remaining 3 contestants were also hot-blooded. They shouted in unison, "Kill." 2 martial artists rushed forward. The remaining 2 mages also started chanting at the same time. Their battle techniques attacked the 2 unicorns like a swarm of bees. The light unicorn let out a long neigh and a ray of light shone. When the two mages chanting met the ray of light, it was like fire meeting water, unable to condense. This was magic immunity. Everyone's heart suddenly stopped beating. In the arena, the red blood unicorn was as fast as lightning. In front of it, the warriors were as weak as babies. This was not a competition at all, but a massacre. The horn of the crimson unicorn pierced into Qin Yong'an's heart like a sharp blade. Yen only felt that his heart was about to stop. But the competition couldn't be stopped. In the final round, all 4 contestants died. Ugh! Li Xinyue was vomiting non-stop at the side. Her face was pale as she pulled at Huangfu Shi. Monster, that is a monster, lion, we cannot compete with that monster. Huangfu Shi's situation wasn't any better. Although his strength was slightly better than Qin Yong'an's, it was only slightly better. In front of the crimson blood unicorn, the 6th squad was as easy as chopping a watermelon with a kitchen knife. What light unicorn? Saying that it was the most peace-loving magical beast was all a lie. This competition was simply a death match. Anyone who encountered the pair of unicorns would die. The 2 men from Lionheart were frightened and lost their will to fight. The 6th match, Light Unicorn wins. Hua Si was indifferent to the tragic situation in the arena. He was just a referee. For him, it didn't matter whether the contestants or people died. After Hua Si announced the result of the competition, he was about to leave the arena. Wait, what are you doing? Hua Si saw Yen come over alone. Although the competition was over, the crimson blood unicorn was still glaring at them. Even Hua Si, as the referee, didn't dare to enter the arena at this time. Collect the body. Yen walked step by step towards Qin Yong'an's body. She accepted this man's request to collect his body. The audience in the stadium was still immersed in the massacre that had just taken place. Seeing Yan's behavior, everyone thought that she was scared out of her wits. Leave immediately, or there will be consequences. Hua Si warned. The crimson blood unicorn was in a killing frenzy. At this time, no one, not even Hua Si, dared to get too close to it. But Yen walked directly in front of it. No one could guarantee that the crimson blood unicorn wouldn't do anything. Yen walked forward as if he didn't hear anything. About 100 steps away, Qin Yong'an was lying on the ground. This was a straightforward man. Just a moment ago, he had invited her to drink. She had promised to treat him and the elves to fruit wine. But now, he would stay on this land forever. She was afraid that she would have to toast him in front of his grave. The crimson blood unicorn also noticed this reckless human. Its front hooves were slightly bent, ready to pierce Yen's chest at any time. It stared at Yen, its horn glaring coldly, as if it wanted to intimidate this reckless man. A wave of pressure surged over. The crimson blood unicorn paused, a trace of confusion in its blood-red eyes. This kind of pressure. A human-like fear flashed through the crimson blood unicorn's red eyes. It turned its head and saw a black-clothed man staring at it from the spectator seats not far away. Even in the eyes of magical beasts, humans were divided into different classes. Cowards, courting death, and the strong. That man was a powerhouse among humans. The pressure was coming from the man. It was as if the crimson blood unicorn had violated his territory. At this moment, the 9th caller sharply raised her eyebrows and searched the audience. Just now, she seemed to have smelled a familiar yet strange pressure. This kind of pressure was familiar, as if she had encountered it a long, long time ago. But she was sure that this kind of pressure was very strong, even stronger than that of a king-level magical beast. While the crimson blood unicorn was hesitating, Yen had already bent down and was about to pick up Qin Yong'an's body when a pair of hands snatched it away. Yen was stunned. Let me do it. I don't like my woman touching other men, Yi Baiming whispered in Yan's ear under the watchful eyes of the audience. His voice was very low and magnetic, gently brushing past Yan's ear. Although there was a mask between them, Yan's ears immediately turned red. He gritted his teeth and said in his heart, "This damned man. Who was his woman? Besides, it was just a corpse in front of him. He was even jealous of a corpse. Was this man born to be petty?" There was an uproar in the audience. Elder Yu's eyes were as wide as lanterns. He had seen a ghost. Yi Baiming, who had always been afraid of trouble, actually took the initiative to help someone. "Collect the corpse." Yi Baichen tugged at his mother's sleeve. "Mother, doesn't Brother Ming hate dirty things the most?" Ever since he could remember, Yi Baichen remembered that his second brother was never willing to carry him because he found it dirty. In the eyes of the young Yi Baichen, there was no concept of death. To him, Chen Yong'an's corpse was just a dirty thing. "Maybe it's because your second brother treasures that woman very much and he doesn't want to dirty her hands." Disappointment appeared in Empress Wenren's eyes. Chapter 691. Regardless of what the woman behind the mask looked like, at this moment, she, the great Zhou's Empress, was envious of the woman called Yan. After disposing of Chen Yong'an's body, Yan returned to the lounge. Yi Baiming continued to be his guest of honor. In the lounge, Emperor and Lionheart were confronting each other. "If we meet that unicorn tomorrow, just forfeit." Lionheart's two people looked at Yen as if she was crazy. Yen actually disregarded her own safety to collect Chen Yong'an's body. They had only met once. What a fool. "I don't agree. No matter what happens tomorrow, we can't forfeit." Yan's point of view was the same as Emperor's. If they wanted to get the title of King of Combat before the end of the year, they had to maintain a winning record in the following matches. "Are you stupid? This is a tactic. If we meet the unicorn and fight to the death, even if we win, we won't have any strength left for the match the day after tomorrow. Forfeiting is just a temporary compromise." Li Xinyue was dissatisfied. "There are 4 of us. If 2 forfeit and 2 fight, according to the rules, we still have to fight." "I don't want to forfeit," Yen said firmly. "Yen, you have to think carefully. This time, I also agree with Lionheart's idea." Tianyu walked in. When Yen was collecting Chen Yong'an's body, Tianyu was very worried. Tianyu also noticed that the unicorn was very strong. The Crimson Blood unicorn's strength was too strong. Almost all the contestants who fought against it were killed. The Light unicorn was protected by the red blood. It was impossible to defeat it. The current situation was the most favorable for the third team. The fourth team had clearly indicated that they would forfeit the following matches because of exhaustion. The teams that could participate in the competition were the first, third, and fifth teams. Among them, the first team only had 2 people left. Their chances of winning were very low. The fifth team had already forfeited a match. They could only fight tomorrow. If Yen and Emperor forfeited the next match, they could directly enter the final round. Moreover, they could avoid the unicorn. From a tactical point of view, this was indeed the most reasonable. The Heavenly Winged Jade also came to persuade the 2 of them. After all, their opponent this time was many times more powerful than Lu Qingqing after her Beast Blood Berserk transformation. "We still intend to give it a try." In the end, under the Flame Emperor's insistence, Lionheart could only watch helplessly. At the end of the night's competition, they also drew lots for the next day's competition. As a result of the draw, the third team did not meet the unicorns. Instead, they met the lava lizard. Seeing the result of the draw, Lionheart heaved a sigh of relief. The fifth battle team's luck was very bad this time. They drew the light unicorn. The faces of the members of the battle team looked as if their mother had died. In the middle of the street, a 5 to 6 meter wide hole suddenly appeared. At least 4 or 5 people fell into the hole in an instant. Yunxing and Dong Huanglinger did not dare to act rashly. Dong Huanglinger cast wind magic on the 4 of them and rushed in Elder Hulian's direction. When they arrived, almost everyone from the magic elite camp was already there. Even Elder Yu was there. Everyone from the warrior elite camp was also present. Yi Baiming was also standing in the crowd. We just received news that the magical beasts in the Skywings arena have gone on a rampage. Just half an hour ago, several commander-level magical beasts killed many keepers and fled to the south of the city. Elder Hulian's hair was still disheveled, and his face was red. I'm afraid that it's the work of that king-level magical beast. The magic array below Skywing City is under attack. If it's not handled properly, the entire city might collapse. Elder Yu's expression was grave. The 2 elders did not expect that they would encounter such a thing during this training. At first, the escape of the king-level magical beast seemed to be a coincidence. But now, it seemed that everything, including the escape of the commander-level magical beast, was premeditated. In just a quarter of an hour, Skywing City had already descended into chaos. There were people crying everywhere. From time to time, the streets and city walls would collapse. Countless people were crushed to death and fell into the holes. This feeling was very similar to the scenes in the apocalyptic movies that Yunxing had seen in her previous life. At this time, Elder Hulian and Elder Yu had also buried the hatchet and stopped fighting. The 2 immediately decided to let all the students board the empty ship and think of a way to leave Skywing City. Chapter 692. 1 king-level magical beast and several commander-level magical beasts. Although there were not many of them, each of them was not to be underestimated. Most of the people already knew about this terrible news. The first thought of those who owned airships and flying magical beasts was to escape from Skywing City immediately. Everyone boarded the airship. At this time, an airship became extremely precious. As soon as the elite camp members boarded the airship, a large number of warriors and mages who did not own airships wanted to climb on board. Elder Hulian's airship was not big and could only accommodate 50 people at most. There were also reserves on board. If there were more people, it would not be able to fly. Helplessly, Elder Hulian could only take action and kill a few people. Only then did the airship successfully take off. In the air, many airships quickly flew forward together. But at this time, the airship flying at the front suddenly smashed into pieces in mid-air. Wait! Elder Yu took the lead and transformed his fighting energy into wings. He went forward to explore the path ahead. Unexpectedly, not long after Elder Yu left the airship and flew for a few thousand meters, an obstacle appeared in front of him, making it difficult for him to move forward. He quickly returned. There's a domain boundary in front. What? How can there be a domain boundary? That king-level magical beast has comprehended a domain boundary. After hearing this news, Elder Hulian and the other students' faces changed slightly. A domain boundary was a very special existence. Among the magical beasts, only king-level magical beasts, martial emperors, and even master summoners could comprehend a domain boundary. A domain boundary was of a higher level than profound magic. I'm afraid it's worse than this. It's not just 1 king-level magical beast, but 2. Elder Yu's eyes were deep as he looked at the dark sky. At the top of the sky, which was the periphery of the domain boundary, there was a pair of golden eyes. The eyes were hidden in the clouds and their specific appearance could not be seen clearly. 1 king-level magical beast was enough of a headache. Now there were 2 king-level magical beasts. At this time, all the hunters on the airships had only one impulse. F***CK. It turned out that the king-level magical beast had disappeared for so long to get reinforcements. Since it could not win in a one-on-one battle, it decided to gang up. Shameful, too shameful. Without exception, all the airships and flying magical beasts encountered the domain boundary. No one could get out. Skywing City was slowly collapsing, and the empty ships couldn't fly out. If this continued, even if there was an empty ship, without supplies, everyone would starve to death here. Elder Hellion furrowed his brows. He gathered everyone on the ship, including Chinliener. Today's matter is urgent. Everyone, retrieve your storage equipment immediately. Remember, your life is the most important thing. Every student took back their equipment with a solemn expression. Yunxing put on the beast's speech ring and quickly took out the Millennium Ice Zither from the ring. Yi Baiming stood alone at the bow of the ship, staring at the invisible domain barrier. Right now, everyone inside and outside Skywing City was facing a predicament. Vile creatures. You actually dare to offend my Heavenly Wing City. This city lord will dismember all of you into 10,000 pieces. In this moment of crisis, an omnipresent voice sounded from the sky. That voice was filled with majesty. In such an urgent moment, it was like a stabilizing needle that calmed everyone's anxious hearts. In the pitch-black night sky, a golden rainbow flew over like a bolt of lightning. It shuttled through the densely packed flying magical beasts and airships with ease. A dignified man with a square face stepped on the golden red light. He was dressed in a golden dragon warrior robe. In the night wind, he didn't move at all. Following the man's roar, the king-level magical beast that was hidden under the clouds finally couldn't hold back. The clouds dispersed, and a huge eagle appeared out of nowhere like a treasured sword. The size of the eagle exceeded Yun Xing's common sense. Its body was dozens of meters long. In the dark night, its two golden eyes shone like an invincible bomber flying at night. Its entire body was covered in sharp, murderous aura. Its entire body was golden, except for the top of its head, which was white. It looked majestic. From its beak to its feathers and claws, the Eagle King's entire body was filled with murderous aura. It looked down from above, overlooking the clouds like a king that ruled the world. The airships, Skywing City, Skywing Venerable, all the people and things were so insignificant in front of it. It's out, it's out. It's this damn thing that's blocking our way. Kill it. Once they saw the Eagle King appear, the first few airships launched attacks. Countless spells and battle techniques were shot out, all focused on the Eagle King. The warriors and mages didn't care about the white-crowned Eagle King's body at all. It even circled in the air provocatively, sometimes dodging, sometimes facing the attacks head-on. Those spells and battle techniques landed on its body, but not a single feather was harmed. When the Skywing City Lord saw this, the golden rainbow beneath his feet suddenly soared into the sky and turned into a streak of light as fast as the wind. The light shadow hit the boundary of the territory with a boom, and the entire boundary made a sound like glass that was about to shatter. Hearing this sound, the white-crowned Eagle King's golden brown eyes had a hint of vigilance. Eagles were the kings of the sky. The white-crowned Eagle King was a bird of prey recorded in the books of magical beasts on the continent. It was an extremely rare magical beast that only resided on snowy peaks tens of thousands of meters high. It was proficient in wind and water magic. It was recorded in the Handbook of Magical Beasts on the continent that although the white-crowned Eagle King was a magical beast, it was born in the snowy mountains. Its bones and even its hair were tempered by the wind, as if it was wearing the best armor. Long-range magic attacks and close combat attacks below the level of a martial sage were all ineffective. Today, it was indeed so. The Eagle King was extremely fast, and ordinary airships were no match for it. It seemed to have been angered by the Skywing Venerable's words. Paw! The white-crowned Eagle King suddenly flapped its huge wings. A hurricane appeared out of nowhere in the sky, and the sea of clouds churned. For a moment, the sky seemed to have turned into an ocean. The hurricane swept up the clouds and rushed toward the airship at the front like a huge wave. The people on the airship did not even have time to escape before they were blown to pieces by the hurricane. The people on the ship screamed for help, but in the blink of an eye, they fell into the air and crashed into the boundary of the territory, turning into pools of blood and flesh. The crowd witnessed this scene, but no one rashly made a move. In front of a king-level magical beast, ordinary experts were like ants. Overestimating one's abilities to save others was equivalent to courting death. The Skywing Venerable did not make a move either. He had limited manpower and would not waste his energy in the hands of useless people. The white-crowned Eagle King was extremely pleased with its success. Its eagle cry pierced through the clouds. When the eagle cry landed in the ears of the people, it was like spring thunder exploding in their ears. Yunxing only felt a buzzing pain in her bones. Some people could not bear it and pressed their ears. Chapter 693. This was followed by another series of collisions. The enraged Condor King flapped its wings a few more times. Before it could truly unleash its power, it had already affected many empty ships. The Condor King spread its wings and flew across the sky like a bomber. It was as fast as lightning. The clouds were smashed apart as if a layer of fog had suddenly appeared. Another hurricane swept towards the Skywing Lord. The Skywing Lord did not dodge. He stood in the air and with a shake of his right hand, the wind from his palm collided with the hurricane. His fighting aura and magic power immediately dissipated. Seeing the Skywing Lord's bravery, the originally frightened and uneasy people began to calm down. When Yunxing saw the collision and the tremor, she felt her heart thump heavily twice. This was a battle between true experts. It was so soul-stirring. The Skywing Lord and the Condor King were both the top experts of the continent. Top experts. So there is still such a big gap between me and them. The experience in the Skywing's arena had made Yunxing somewhat complacent for a time. But after seeing it today, she realized that only a true expert could stand tall between heaven and earth. One day, she would definitely be like the Skywing Lord, stopping a king-level magical beast and breaking the boundary of a domain. Neither the unicorn nor the white-crowned Condor King in front of her could stop her. At this moment, Yunxing was on the empty ship, the blood in her body surging. So strong. On the empty ship of the elite camp, the students had all seen the scene up close. Most of them had not seen the match during the day and had not seen the battle between humans and magical beasts. Tonight, they had seen the Skywing Lord's power with their own eyes and were stunned. The power of the Condor King's wing and the Skywing Lord's palm was actually so powerful. When true experts exchanged blows, life and death were decided in a single breath. Elder Hellion and Elder Yu were also shocked. The Skywing City Lord had been famous for a long time, but very few people had seen him in action. Today, they saw that the Skywing City Lord's strength was probably comparable to the two great elders of the elite camp. The Skywing Lord did not back down in the slightest when facing the Condor King. On the contrary, his eyes shone with excitement. This king-level demonic beast was not weak and could be his opponent. But just as the Skywing City Lord and the Condor King were locked in a stalemate, an even greater tremor came from the depths of the clouds. As the tremors continued, Skywing City was on the verge of collapse. Not good, I almost messed up the important matter. The Skywing City Lord secretly cried out in alarm. He had nearly fallen for the demonic beast's trick of luring the tiger away from the mountain. With this demonic beast king pestering him, the king-class demonic beast that had escaped earlier had most likely already entered the depths of the Sea of Clouds, searching for the magic array that supported Skywing City. There were also the numerous commander-grade magical beasts that had escaped from the Skywing's arena. There was still no sign of them, and they were probably hiding in the Sea of Clouds. When Elder Hellion saw the Skywing City Lord, his heart calmed down slightly. The other party had a king-level magical beast that had comprehended a domain. On their side, they also had the City Lord of Skywing City, whose strength was unfathomable. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's events are too sudden. Skywing City is now in a state of crisis. But fortunately, the situation has not reached its worst. I have already ascertained that there is a king-level magical beast within the magic array in the Sea of Clouds. The City Lord of Skywing City was indeed an extraordinary person of his generation. In such a predicament, he could still remain calm and direct the citizens to carry out the rescue. Most of the city guards had already dispersed throughout the city, guiding the citizens and leading them to the relatively safe Skywing's arena. There were also some who were doing their best to rescue the injured citizens. The Skywing City Lord had already ascertained that the king-level magical beast that had escaped was somewhere in the clouds. He had wanted to personally go and kill it, but the Condor King that was outside the domain barrier had been eyeing it covetously. In terms of strength, the Condor King was more difficult to deal with than the other king-level magical beast. City Lord, we are willing to go with you to kill the Condor King. Elder Hellion and Elder Yu stepped forward. In terms of cultivation, Elder Hellion and Elder Yu were also one of the few peerless powerhouses in Skywing City. Only if they joined forces with the City Lord of Skywing City could they break the barrier. Thank you, Brother Hellion and Brother Yu. The Skywing City Lord was very grateful, but then he said, in addition to fighting against the king-level magical beast, we need another group of people to go to the Cloud Sea to guard the magic array. This was the most difficult problem for the Skywing City Lord at the moment. This group of people was going to the Cloud Sea to search for the other king-level magical beast, so their strength could not be weak. But there were limited experts at the moment, so where could he find a group of trustworthy and competent people? Father, I am willing to go. I can also bring a few veterans of the arena with me. The Skywing City Lord volunteered himself. The crisis in Skywing City this time was both an opportunity and a crisis for him. As long as he could kill the king-level magical beast and resolve the crisis in Skywing City, he would be able to gain his father's favor. Father, my cultivation is about the same as second brother's. I am also willing to go. How could the Skywing City Lord be willing to fall behind? The Skywing City Lord nodded. He then looked at the mainland's elite camp's empty ship. Are there any magicians in the elite camp who know how to heal? After entering the Cloud Sea, anything could happen. It was very advantageous to have a magician. Gufeng. Elder Hellion had just called out Gufeng's name. Elder Hellion, I am willing to go, Yunsheng interrupted. Yunsheng was unwilling to let Gufeng go. She had taken back the beast's speech ring and Bing Qin. Even if they encountered the king-level magical beast, they could still put up a fight. Your disciple is also willing to go. As soon as Yunsheng finished speaking, Yi Baiming unhurriedly followed up. Elder, your disciple also wants to go and redeem himself. Chen Lianer, who had been cowering at the side and not speaking, was unwilling to see Yi Baiming and Yunsheng together. She hurriedly pleaded. That's good. All of you have to be careful. Elder Hellion thought about it. Yunsheng was much smarter than Gufeng. Her elven magic was also very outstanding, and she was also a doctor. She was more suitable than Gufeng to go and help. The Skywing City Lord immediately decided on the candidates for the Cloud Sea search team. The Skywing City Lord and his brother selected a few more people. A group of people immediately boarded a brand new empty ship and entered the Cloud Sea. Your disciple. Feng Tian had just opened his mouth. Feng Tian, our empty ship still needs people to guard it. You lead a group of brothers and sisters to guard here, Elder Hellion hurriedly advised. He did not want Feng Tian to meet Yi Biming again. Feng Tian's eyes darkened, and he did not speak again. Once they boarded the empty ship, Yunsheng saw a few familiar faces. Chen Lianer's expression changed slightly. Skywing Jade and eldest young mistress were also on the ship. The Skywing brothers had already gone out, so Skywing Jade could only participate in order to avoid arousing suspicion. As for eldest young mistress, she immediately followed after hearing that Chen Liener was also on the empty ship. Skywing Jade's matter had just stopped a while ago, and she did not want another vixen to hook up with eldest young master. Eldest young master could not help but smile when he saw Chen Liener. However, Chen Liener's face was wooden and looked serious. Everyone on the ship had their own thoughts as they headed towards the Cloud Sea. Chapter 694. In the Skywing City Beast Riot this time, the magical beasts in the Skywing and Darkwing districts had fled. A large number of mid-tier, high-tier, and even commander-level magical beasts had fled, and some high-tier magical beasts were still missing. A rough estimate suggested that about 100 magical beasts might have entered the Sea of Clouds. Big brother, second brother, in addition to our empty ship, some contestants have spontaneously organized to enter the Sea of Clouds. In order to resolve this crisis as soon as possible, the Skywing City Lord issued a City Lord's order. Kill a mid-tier magical beast and accumulate a regular season record. Killing a high-level magical beast would add up to a month's worth of results. Killing a commander-level magical beast would allow him to accumulate a year's worth of achievements. Kill a king-level magical beast and accumulate a fighting king record. As soon as the City Lord's order was announced, a large number of contestants entered the Sea of Clouds. This included Lionheart and the others. The empty ship left Skywing City and kept sinking. After boarding the ship, Yunsheng listened to Tianyu roughly describe the current situation in the lower city. The situation isn't good. My mother has already ordered people to move the items in the treasure boat. The city is now in chaos, and many buildings have been damaged. Tianyu told Yunsheng about the city situation. Everyone, the empty ship is about to enter the maze of clouds. Everyone, please pay attention, Tianyi Dong reminded. The empty ship's speed suddenly increased. A large sea of clouds appeared in front of them. It was only today that Yunsheng learned that there was a maze of clouds below Skywing City. This sea of clouds was very unique. The clouds outside the sea of clouds were like smoke, without a physical body. However, the clouds in the sea of clouds were all physical and were also called cloud islands, where empty ships and the like could be birthed. The magic array was located at the northernmost part of the sea of clouds. Everyone, the Sea of Clouds is ahead. After entering the Sea of Clouds, because there are many cloud islands, they will drift with the wind. For safety reasons, those who can't fly can only ride flying magical beasts or wait on the empty ship, Tianyi Dong said. Taking advantage of everyone's attention focused on the Sea of Clouds, Yunsheng suddenly whispered in Tianyu's ear, "Sister Yu, try to guard the entrance to the Sea of Clouds later. I'll think of a way to finish off the Skywing brothers in the Sea of Clouds." Tianyu was slightly startled and thought to herself, how did Yunsheng know what she was thinking? The reason why the Heavenly Winged Jade had come along was because it already had a plan in mind. Unexpectedly, the two of them looked at each other and saw the admiration in each other's eyes. Just as Tianyi Dong ordered the empty ship to stop at the nearest cloud island. Before the empty ship came to a stop, it suddenly heard a low beast roar from the clouds. Everyone on the empty ship was shocked. Not good, there are magic beasts lurking under the clouds. Tianyi Dong discovered it too late. The originally tranquil Cloud Island suddenly began to tumble. A terrifying eyeless magical beast emerged from the clouds. It crashed into the empty ship. The entire empty ship was instantly pierced through. The people on the empty ship were caught off guard and fell one after another. At the moment of falling, Yunxing did not hesitate to use the transformation spell. She immediately merged with the Bobo egg and summoned Tycoon Gold. Yunxing pulled Chuyu, who was the closest to her. With Yi Baiming's cultivation, there was no way he would be in any danger. Yunxing, what are you? Tianyu was shocked. She had never seen Yunxing like this. Sister Yu, the Sea of Clouds is very dangerous. I've already ordered people to come and get you. After Yunxing warned her, she released a signal into the Sea of Clouds. Soon, a group of giant winged bat dragons flew over, with Oriole and 10 magic warriors sitting on them. Tianyu could not help but be stunned when she saw who it was. Oriole saw Tianyu and did not immediately speak. Sister Yu is one of us. Just say it. Yunxing nodded. Deputy Commander, everything is proceeding smoothly according to your orders. As soon as Tianyi City received the emergency signal, Yun Songlong immediately contacted Yunxing. Yunxing and second uncle discussed briefly before following on to the empty ship. The 4 night emissaries of the Hidden Night Pavilion have been killed by Commander and the others. Our brothers have already entered the Hidden Night Pavilion. We've already confiscated the doctors, magicians, and some medicinal herbs and pills. Hidden Night Pavilion. When Tianyu heard this, she could not help but look at Yunxing. Wasn't this clearly taking advantage of the situation? At present, Tianyi City was in chaos, and everyone was only concerned with running for their lives. Who would have thought that Yunxing would choose this time to clear out the Hidden Night Pavilion? However, this was indeed Yunxing's way of doing things. In Yunxing's philosophy of life, one who did not take advantage of the situation was a fool. However, we did not find Su Dagua of the Hidden Night Pavilion. He also took away a batch of precious medicinal herbs and dozens of doctors and magicians. We searched in private but did not find him. According to the people of the Hidden Night Pavilion, he might have entered the Sea of Clouds. It's not a problem. We can hide for a while, but we can't hide forever. Sister Yu, go back with Oriole first. I'll take care of the rest. With 10 devil martial artists by her side, Yunxing was very confident about the next operation. Tianyu had many questions. She had previously thought that Yunxing was a young lady from a large family on the continent. Who would have thought that she was actually the deputy leader of a super hunting corps like the Heaven Expedition Hunting Corps? There was also the group of martial artists with strange masks that Oriole had brought. Their do chi and magic power were very strong. Yunxing could actually command this group of strange guys by herself. It was too terrifying. Was this really an ability that a teenage girl should have? Tianyu did not ask any more questions. She understood very well that this time, whether it was for Yunxing or her, it was a chance for them to rise up. Once Tianyu and Oriole left, Yunxing and more than 10 devil martial artists entered the Sea of Clouds together. The king-level magic beast that had smashed through the airship quickly disappeared after its attack. There was no longer its aura in the surroundings. Yunxing's target today was that king-level devil beast in the Sea of Clouds. She was about to break through, and that king-level devil beast's soul stone could be used to inlay her magic scepter. From time to time, mid- and high-level devil beasts would appear in the surroundings, sniping and killing the martial artists and mages who had fallen from the void ship. Fragments of the void ship were everywhere. The moment the void ship was pierced, Yi Baiming immediately began to search for Yunxing's traces. But to his surprise, not only did he find Yunxing's aura, but he also found the aura of 10 devil martial artists at the same time. Yunxing's devil martial artists were trained by Yi Baiming, so he was very clear about their strength. It seemed that the little wild cat was going to do something big this time. If he intervened, she would probably be so anxious that she would stomp her feet. He was sure that Yunxing had the ability to protect herself. Yi Baiming immediately dodged into the clouds. After he transformed his qi into wings and flew for a while, suddenly, a terrified cry came from ahead. In front of him, a small piece of the wreckage of the void ship appeared. There were 2 people on it. Kong Fei, who was lying on his stomach, and Tianyi Dong, who was standing. Second young master, save me. Not far away, that crimson unicorn's eyes were red and murderous. As the person in charge of the Tianyi Dong arena, the devil beasts had long hated him to the bone. When Tianyi Dong was on the void ship just now, he had been accidentally injured by that king-level devil beast's magic, and now he had to drag Kong Fei down. Chapter 695. Scram. Tianyi Dong was unwilling to face this unicorn directly. He kicked Kong Fei away, transforming his battle qi into wings as he fled. Kong Fei was badly frightened. Seeing Tianyi Dong flee, his face was ashen. Suddenly, a figure appeared in front of him. As if he had seen his savior, Kong Fei hugged the person's leg. Second young master, I knew you wouldn't be so heartless. I've followed you for so long. Only then did Kong Fei see clearly that the person who had come was not Tianyi Dong. What a handsome man. Kong Fei was also quite good-looking, but when he saw Yi Baiming, he could not help but be stunned. You are Tianyi Dong's boy toy. Yi Baiming still had some impression of Kong Fei. According to Long Tu, it was this sissy in front of him who had ostracized Yunxing. Yes, no, sir. As long as you save Kong Fei will be yours in the future. Kong Fei looked at the man's attire. He was either rich or noble. He had been abandoned by Tianyi Dong. If he could climb up to this sir in front of him, it would be a good thing. Where is Tianyi Dong's Achilles heel? Yi Baiming lowered his eyes and looked at Kong Fei. After a martial artist cultivated to the martial saint realm, their entire body was invulnerable. Wanting to kill them was not easy. But as long as he had not broken through to martial emperor, there would definitely be an Achilles heel on his entire body. As long as he knew the Achilles heel, Yi Baiming could easily kill Tianyi Dong. Yi Baiming would definitely not waste his energy on things that could be done with less effort. Young master's Achilles heel is under his left abdomen. Kong Fei had just finished speaking when Yi Baiming suddenly kicked him away. In the sea of clouds, Yi Baiming was dressed in black and a black unicorn, facing each other. You are not human. Why are you with a human? That unicorn suddenly spoke in human language. Commander-level magical beasts were already adults among magical beasts. They knew how to communicate in human language. You should not exist in the boundless world. It's useless to say more. I need your Dharma soul. Yi Baiming's body quietly changed. In an instant, his arms were covered with scales. There was a trace of fear in the crimson unicorn's eyes. The fist had already pierced through its chest. That was, in Yi Baiming's hand, a magical soul as pure as a black gemstone appeared. His Dharma soul gradually fused into Yi Baiming's body. Yi Baiming's 5 elemental Dharma spirits immediately grew in size. If Yunxing saw Yi Baiming's special cultivation method, she would definitely be shocked. No wonder Yi Baiming's cultivation speed was so heaven-defying. His method of cultivating magic was to directly devour magic souls. 1. A red light flashed across Yi Baiming's gray eyes. He narrowed his eyes and looked around for the second commander-level magical beast. Very quickly, Yi Baiming found the whereabouts of the Thunder Wolf. As long as he devoured the Dharma souls of the commander-level and king-level magical beasts that escaped from the arena, he would be able to break through very quickly. He kept the Crimson Unicorn's corpse in his storage device. Yi Baiming then looked at the sea of clouds. He revealed a mischievous smile and disappeared into the sea of clouds. Not long after, Yunxing led 10 demon warriors to this area. Yunxing frowned slightly. Strange. Just now, she clearly felt that there was a commander-level magical beast nearby. Why did the magical beast's aura disappear without a trace when she arrived? Forget it, she should look for the next one. Yunxing immediately ordered the 10 demon warriors beside her to spread out. Once they found any magical beasts above the commander level, they were to inform her immediately. Not long after Yunxing and the 10 demon warriors separated, the light unicorn appeared in the sea of clouds in front of them. You're the one I'm looking for. Yunxing was secretly delighted, but she was also a little nervous. She was already holding the summoning hand in her hand. When the light unicorn came closer, Yunxing discovered that the light unicorn was seriously injured. Blood had already dyed its pure white fur red. It also discovered Yunxing. Under its gentle big eyes, there was endless sorrow. The light unicorn had already sensed the aura of a summoner from Yunxing's body. Human, I will not contract with you. The dignity of the unicorn clan cannot be trampled on. The light unicorn opened its mouth to speak. Was it you who killed my crimson blood? The light unicorn was a female beast. The lover it spoke of was the crimson unicorn. It's dead. Yunxing couldn't help but be surprised. No wonder the female light unicorn was seriously injured. Get out of the way, it's our prey. 2 more voices came from behind. The 2 men from the Lionheart clan each rode a flying demon beast and flanked the light unicorn from the left and right. When the 2 men from the Lionheart clan found out that the city lord had issued the city lord's order, they immediately entered the sea of clouds, wanting to take advantage of the chaos to kill 1 or 2 demon beasts. Who would have thought that they would be lucky enough to encounter a lone light unicorn? After confirming that the crimson unicorn was not around, they launched a frenzied attack on the light unicorn. The light unicorn was no match for them. After being seriously injured, it could only hide in the depths of the sea of clouds. Yunxing was not wearing a mask, so the 2 men from the Lionheart clan did not know that she was Yen. Li Xinyue saw Yunxing's appearance clearly. She saw that she had a pair of wings on her back. Looking at her face, there was a trace of jealousy. Where did this monster come from? I advise you to get out of here quickly. This light unicorn is ours. The light unicorn was on the verge of death, and there was no way to save it. However, Yunxing was very interested in the soul stone on its body. Gu Feng was about to break through soon. With his special magic attribute, if he could match the light unicorn's soul stone, his cultivation would definitely increase greatly. The 2 men from the Lionheart clan had a good plan. As long as they could kill this light unicorn, they might have a chance to win this year's annual tournament. At that time, Yan Huang would not be able to obtain any glory. That soul stone, I want it. Yunxing did not relent. After hearing Yunxing's voice, Li Xinyue was like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. She almost jumped off the back of the light unicorn. You're Yen. The 2 men from the Lionheart clan turned pale with fright. They had thought that Yen would at least be a female magician around their age. However, the girl in front of them had tender skin and a pair of black eyes that were like stars. She did not look old at all. You have good eyesight, but you're not very lucky. I am Yen, but I'm not the Yen from the arena. A magic array appeared under Yunxing's feet. Xiao He and the centipede ant general pounced out from the magic array. Xiao He bit Huangfu Lion's right arm, while the centipede ant general commanded countless ant soldiers to devour Li Xinyue in an instant. In less than 15 minutes, the two men from the Lionheart clan were wiped out. The light unicorn could no longer hold on. It lay on the clouds. Yunxing's little beasts surrounded her. When the light unicorn saw Yunxing's little beasts, it was as surprised as when Lionheart recognized Yunxing as Yen. Chapter 696. Most of Yunxing's summoned beasts were of extremely high ranks. With the exquisite beast pagoda, apart from the puffed egg whose rank was unknown, the other beasts had all broken through to the commander rank. A summoner who could contract multiple beasts, and each of them was at the commander rank. What kind of concept was that? Perhaps even the continent's Emperor Zhao might not have this ability. The light unicorn knew that it was going to die today, but it wasn't afraid. The female summoner in front of it was very strong. She didn't lack beasts, she only wanted its soul stone. I can give you my soul stone, but I have a wish. Please leave my horn. If you have the chance to find Crimson Blood's horn in the future, perhaps you can use our horns to refine a pair of special magic tools. A tear fell from the corner of the light unicorn's eye. The tear was red. Yunxing wasn't in a hurry to act. Ever since she had a portion of the blood of beasts, she had a special feeling for them. It wasn't until the light unicorn had breathed its last that Yunxing took action, digging out its horn and soul stone. The light unicorn was a very special kind of beast. It could only have one partner in its lifetime. For Crimson Blood, its partner was already dead, and it didn't want to live alone. After receiving its soul stone, Yunxing extracted a part of its memories from the soul stone. The light unicorn was originally a beast that lived in a forest in Penglai. It was born in a large family of unicorns that had more than 100 of them. However, it was born at the same time as another pair of unicorn heirs, and that was Crimson Blood. This was because light unicorns had snow-white fur from birth. Crimson Blood, with its black fur, was neglected by the other unicorns. Only the light unicorn was willing to play with it. It wasn't until the two unicorns had reached adulthood that a few unicorns suddenly died one day in the unicorn family. All the unicorns felt that it was bad luck brought by Crimson Blood, and they expelled Crimson Blood. When Crimson Blood left the forest, Light Unicorn Sue also left with it. However, due to an accident, the Light Unicorn had been captured by the Skywings Arena, and Scarlet Blood had stayed with Dawn in the Skywings Arena. Although the arena was a place filled with slaughter, it was a rare place where the two unicorns could pass their days peacefully. It wasn't until Tianyi Dong got excited and reformed the Xuanyi division that Kong Fei secretly ordered people to add forbidden drugs to the food of the magical beasts, which led to the abnormal behavior of the magical beasts during the annual competition. Who would have thought that there would be such an emotional love between magical beasts? Yunxing sighed, "Well, I will find the Red Blood's horn and let you two meet again." "Master, there's a powerful magic wave coming from the northwest of the Sea of Clouds," a magic warrior reported. "Looks like we found our target." Yunxing immediately cast a transformation spell and turned into an old-looking mage. Southeast of the Sea of Clouds, outside a huge magic array. The two groups of people were fighting. Tianyi Tuo and his wife stood on one side, and on the other side was the Zhao State's 9th summoner, Hu Jiusheng, and the 5th summoner. Tianyi Tuo had come prepared this time. He had a magic space in his hand, and a wailing magical beast was locked inside. The 9th summoner, Hu Jiusheng, glared at Tianyi Tuo and his wife. "The two of you, what is the meaning of this? The Zhao State and Skywing City have always had a good relationship. Do you want to become enemies with Skywing City?" Tianyi Tuo had stolen this cub from the competition area with great difficulty, and his goal was to lure out the king-level magical beast. Who would have thought that the 9th summoner would suddenly attack? Capturing a magical beast is one thing, and threatening it with its cub's life is another. Put it down. The ninth summoner looked at the cub. Do you really think this is the Zao state? Others might be afraid of you, but I'm not. Tianyi Tuo also threw a tantrum. He was anxious to make a contribution. As long as he killed the king-level magical beast, his father would definitely see him in a new light. Husband, don't worry about that woman. Bring the magical beast cub into the magic array and let it see blood first. I don't believe that its beast mother won't come out. Eldest young mistress's ugly face opened wide. To everyone's surprise, the first ones to find the magic array were the eldest master and the eldest mistress. You have me to thank. If I hadn't reminded you to bring this cub here, would you have found the magic array so easily? The eldest mistress's face was smug. My wife still loves me dearly. Don't worry, as long as I kill this beast, I will become the city lord, and you will definitely be the city lord's wife. Tianyi Tuo said sweet words. The location of the Cloud Sea magic array was hard to find. Even the city lord of Skywing City had to spend a while to find it. Although the eldest mistress and the eldest master still had some grudges because of Qin Lianer's matter. But if she married a chicken, she would follow the chicken, and if she married a dog, she would follow the dog. The eldest mistress's thoughts were still on Tianyi Tuo. Seeing that Tianyi Yu and Tianyi Dong were more capable than her husband, she was secretly anxious. This time, Tianyi City was in chaos. As a woman, the eldest mistress was more careful. When she learned that the eldest master was going to enter the clouds to kill the king-level magical beast, she took advantage of the chaos to steal the cub of the king-level magical beast in the Shuani district and took it with her. Magical beasts had a keen sense of smell. With the help of this cub, they were the first to find the location of the king-level magical beast. In the magic array, the king-level magical beast also found its cub and kept roaring angrily. What the hell is this thing? It looks a little like a snake, but also like an earthworm. The eldest mistress frowned and looked at the king-level magical beast. Who cares what it is? Let's kill it first. The eldest master rubbed his hands. If they didn't have the cub in hand, with the couple's strength, they could only fight the king-level magical beast to a draw. When the king-level magical beast saw its cub in the hands of the eldest master and his wife, it didn't know what to do for a moment. But just as the couple was about to attack, there was a sudden shout from behind them. The two Zao state summoners appeared. When the ninth summoner saw that the eldest master and his wife were threatening her with the cub, it was as if they had touched her reverse scale. Without another word, she started to fight with Tianyi Tuo. The eldest mistress also started to fight with the fifth summoner. Hiss, the two sides were entangled in a fierce battle. For a moment, combat skills and magic were constantly used. The young magical beast was so frightened that it let out a sharp cry. The king-level magical beast was also enraged. It suddenly burrowed into the clouds and rushed straight toward the magic array. Its huge tail slammed into the magic array, and the entire sea of clouds suddenly churned. Tianyi City shook even more violently. Bastard, how dare you destroy my Tianyi City? I'll make you die without descendants. Tianyi Tuo was furious. He raised the cub in his hand high and threw it from the sky. Hiss, the king-level magical beast let out a painful cry. She watched the cub fall from the sky into the clouds. Lightning flashed and thunder roared. A scene flashed through the ninth summoner's mind. Chapter 697. A small baby was born from one of the blood clouds. Someone wearing a summoner's robe cut out a child with a beast's tail from the blood clouds. They lifted the child up high and smashed him to the ground. The child didn't even have time to cry before he breathed his last and was smashed to death. The ninth summoner, Hu Jiuxing, glared angrily. Her silver hair was as hard as iron. It wrapped around Skywing Taiko's neck like vines and tightened bit by bit. Skywing Taiko found it difficult to breathe. Strands of hair dug into his skin and he couldn't gather his fighting energy. You, Skywing Taiko wanted to break free, but no matter how hard he struggled, the ninth summoner's hair tightened around him. The ninth summoner's hair was extremely tough. Skywing Taiko couldn't struggle at all. Let her go. Eldest mistress saw this and didn't want to tangle with the fifth summoner anymore. She rushed forward and fought the ninth summoner. She tore off the ninth summoner's mask. Under the mask, the beautiful face was as cold as ice. Even the eldest young mistress, who was a woman, felt her heart sway when she saw this otherworldly beautiful face. Whoosh! It was like the sound of a palm tearing through the air. Eldest mistress felt a warm current spurt out from her abdomen. She looked down and saw a fox tail piercing through her abdomen like the sharpest blade. The fox tail had come from the ninth summoner's back. Fox tail, eldest mistress realized that the Zao State's ninth summoner was actually the Zao State's main summoner, beast. Eldest mistress didn't get to finish her sentence before she died. Skywing Taiko witnessed this scene and felt his liver and guts shatter. He couldn't catch his breath and also died. He died. Ninth summoner, you. The fifth summoner's face changed drastically after witnessing this scene. He had always had suspicions about the ninth summoner's true identity, but he didn't expect to see it with his own eyes today. My head hurts. After killing 2 people, Hu Jiuxing's face was as white as a sheet. She curled up and trembled. Her mind was in a mess, as if it was a paste. Ninth Lord Zhao, don't forget Lord Zhao Huang's orders. We have to bring that king-level magic beast back to report. Seeing that the ninth Lord Zhao was no longer attacking, the fifth Lord Zhao heaved a sigh of relief and hurriedly reminded him. In the magic array, the king-level magical beast, which had been extremely violent earlier, did not dare to move after seeing Hu Jiuxing reveal her half-beast form. Who's there? Hu Jiuxing suddenly raised her head and glared at the person in front of her. There was a person standing in front of him. Aren't you the breeder? Why are you here? The fifth lord saw who it was. That person looked sloppy. It was the breeder he had met in the Shuani area earlier. Jiuxing, I'm Canghai. You don't remember me, but don't tell me you don't remember our child. Yun Canghai was still holding the magical beast cub that Skywing Taiko had just thrown down from the sky. His expression was sorrowful. He looked at his wife who was so close to him, but he did not remember her at all. Ever since the chaos in Skywing City, he had been following Hu Jiuxing all the way. The scene that had just happened had obviously triggered some of Hu Jiuxing's memories. That was why she had revealed her half-beast form in a moment of agitation. Yun Canghai knew that this was the best time for Hu Jiuxing to recover her memories. That was why he had walked out. Hu Jiuxing looked at Yun Canghai in front of her, and her headache worsened. The same situation, the same face. She remembered that she had seen this man somewhere before. At that time, he was holding, Yun Canghai said as he walked towards Hu Jiuxing. A baby. A baby. A baby that was very important to her. Girl. Hu Jiuxing struggled to spit out a sentence. Hu Jiuxing, the Emperor Zhao is waiting for your report. Just as Hu Jiuxing was about to think of something, the fifth lord beside her suddenly took out a magic crystal. He held the magic crystal high and muttered something. The magic crystal emitted a dazzling light. Hu Jiuxing saw the crystal. Her headache suddenly froze, and the pain and hesitation in her eyes were replaced by a layer of coldness. She quickly put on her mask, as if she had become a different person. She raised her magic scepter, and a summoning array rose under her feet. A huge flood dragon flew out of the summoning array. Kill him. In the blink of an eye, Hu Jiuxing underwent an astonishing change. Jiuxing. Yun Songhai did not expect his wife to suddenly turn hostile. It was all because of the crystal. His wife's temperament suddenly changed after she saw the crystal. He still had a magical beast cub in his hands, and he could not bear to kill his wife. Therefore, in the face of the flood dragon, he could only keep dodging. Soon, he was at a disadvantage. Fifth Lord, catch that king-level magical beast. Hu Jiuxing attacked Yun Songhai as she ordered the Fifth Lord to catch the king-level magical beast. There was only one order in her mind. Bring back the king-level magical beast and kill the man in front of her. The Fifth Lord had already arrived in front of the king-level magical beast. He chanted and tried to use the magic space to take the king-level magical beast away. Who are you, Junior? How dare you snatch my things? The fifth summoner was given a fright. An old man with fluttering white hair suddenly appeared. The old man had a sage-like appearance. His face was old and his eyes were sharp. The most shocking thing was that he had a pair of eagle-like wings on his back. Those were definitely not ordinary magic wings. Was he a human or, the three people present, including Hu Jiuxing, could not help but look askance at him. This white-haired old man who appeared out of thin air exuded a strong magic power. He was a powerful man on the same level as Emperor Zhao. Senior, may I ask where you belong to? We are the main summoners of the Zhao state. We are under the orders of the Emperor Zhao in red to capture this magical beast. The Fifth Lord had summoned a powerful man on the same level as Emperor Zhao. The Fifth Lord kept addressing him as Senior, and his attitude was very humble. There were only a few powerful men on the same level as Emperor Zhao on the mainland. According to the Fifth Lord's knowledge, most of these people were acquainted with the Emperor Zhao in red. This old man, however, was a stranger. No matter what, he had to be careful. He did not want to offend this man. If he was not careful, he would summon his own magical beast and swallow him whole. Bullsh *T. Since when was it your turn to capture my magical beast? The old man spat and spat on the Fifth Lord's face. The Fifth Lord could only stand awkwardly with his face covered in saliva. He did not even have the courage to wipe his face with his sleeve. What? This man said that the king-level magical beast was his. Chapter 698. This wasn't easy to handle. According to the rules of the continent, once a magical beast had a master, if it was injured or killed, it would directly become an enemy of the magical beast's master. The Zhao state had promised the Heaven's Wings Arena earlier to come forward and help deal with this magical beast incident, and they had also confirmed that this magical beast was ownerless. It was clearly an ownerless magical beast, and there was no sign of a contract on its body at all. The fifth summoner looked at the king-level magical beast, and no matter how he looked at it, he felt that it was an ownerless magical beast. However, a powerhouse on the level of Emperor Zhao wouldn't go so far as to blackmail him. Sir, what evidence do you have to say that this magical beast is yours? The ninth summoner, Hu Jiuxing, rode on the flood dragon. She could also feel the pressure of a powerhouse emanating from the old man, and he was definitely a powerhouse on the level of Emperor Zhao. However, that king-level magical beast was definitely ownerless. If this lord dares to say so, I naturally have my evidence. Even if Yunxing had 10 times the courage, she wouldn't dare to call him daddy in front of her mother. This white-haired the Emperor Zhao, needless to say, was Yunxing in disguise. When Yunxing learned that there was a fight in the magic array, she immediately used a transformation spell to change her appearance. However, she didn't expect that her family of 3 would meet in Yunhai ahead of time. Even more unexpected was that her mother actually wanted to kill her father. On the side, Yun Songhai also didn't know where the Emperor Zhao had come from. Just at this time, Yun Songhai discovered that the summoning emperor quickly blinked his eyes at him. He even revealed a kind smile at the corner of his mouth. What made Yun Songhai feel the most strange was that he discovered that when the Emperor Zhao smiled, there were 2 dimples at the corners of his mouth. Could it be? This white-haired Emperor Zhao was... Yun Songhai almost died of depression. This sly girl, had actually deceived her own parents. However, given the current situation, he could only let deal with it. Yun Xing walked up to the king-grade magic beast, placed her hand on its forehead, and began to chant. The king-level magic beast's eyes, which had been filled with fear, were now filled with uneasiness and fear. Soon, it became docile. It crawled under Yun Xing's feet and licked her hand. A king-level magical beast would only do such a thing to its closest kin. Looking at it this way, this magical beast really did belong to this white-haired Emperor Zhao. When the 5th summoner saw this, he complained incessantly. After working so hard for so long, it turned out to be a magic beast that had already recognized its master. Honorable the Emperor Zhao, I am very sorry. This magical beast belongs to you. The Zhao state will not interfere. The 5th summoner bowed. Hu Jiuxing's beautiful eyes moved slightly as she stared at the white-haired Emperor Zhao and the king-grade magic beast. She had a nagging feeling that something was wrong. Seeing that he could not capture the king-grade magic beast, the 5th summoner did not want to stay any longer. He pulled Hu Jiuxing with him and quickly left. Yun Sheng was secretly anxious. She was anxious that her father did not stop her mother. She knew that if she missed this opportunity, it would be very difficult for her to see her mother again. After all, she had used the demon hand to scare off the sorcerers of the Zhao state. However, if Hu Jiuxing made a move, she would be exposed. Yun Songhai was about to confirm his daughter's identity. Suddenly, he heard a cold laugh. Where did this impostor come from? How dare you pretend to be Emperor Zhao? You can fool the people of the Zhao state, but you can't fool me. Tianyi Dong floated in the air. It turned out that he had run into the 5th summoner and the 9th summoner on his way here. The 5th summoner could not help but complain to him about how this magical beast clearly had a master, causing the Zhao state to go through so much trouble and wasting months in Tianyi City. Tianyi Dong finally managed to appease the 5th summoner. He was also very puzzled. Tianyi Dong had personally purchased that king-grade magic beast. Magic beasts that could enter the Tianyi arena had all gone through layers of screening. If the beast had a master, he would definitely know beforehand. Besides, the Lord of Tianyi City had once said that none of the several masters at the level of Emperor Zhao matched the white-haired old man in front of him. Then, there could only be one explanation, and that was that the old man in front of him was an impostor. You go after her. I'll deal with this. Yun Sheng was afraid that she would miss the opportunity to reunite with her parents. Yun Songhai was still a little hesitant. Father-in-law, don't worry. Leave this to your son-in-law. A lazy and somewhat domineering voice was heard at the right time. Tianyi Dong looked over and saw Lord Baiming of the Zhao state standing not far away. Father-in-law. Yun Songhai looked at Yi Baiming and realized that he was the blind boy from Banana Leaf Village. However, compared to when he was in Banana Leaf Village, the young man's temperament and appearance were even better. Lord Baiming. If the Lord Baiming in front of him was such a person, then his daughter, Yun Songhai remembered that last time, he had already reminded his daughter to break off the engagement with Lord Baiming as soon as possible. Looking at the situation, the engagement had not been successfully broken off. Tianyi Dong was also very surprised. He had been secretly delighted in his heart. Lord Baiming was his guest of honor, but he immediately felt that something was wrong. Why would Lord Biming appear here? After the chaos in Skywing City, those nobles had already hidden and fled. What was even stranger was that Lord Biming was still looking at the white-haired old man and giving him a flirtatious look. Tianyi Dong was fond of men. A few days ago, when he first saw Yi Biming, he was also shocked. However, because of the other party's identity, Tianyi Dong did not dare to hook up with him. But today, it seemed that Lord Biming was actually fond of men. A handsome young lord and an old man with white hair and wrinkled skin. A forbidden scene appeared in Tianyi Dong's mind. Could it be that Lord Biming was also a kindred spirit? It was just that this kindred spirit's taste was a little too heavy. Tianyi Dong shuddered. Moreover, Lord Biming had even said something about father-in-law. When he said this, the white-haired old man standing opposite Tianyi Dong actually looked as shy as a young girl. Yun Songhai was even more hesitant. He knew that his daughter, Yun Xing, had extraordinary opportunities and carried several precious treasures on her. However, she was still young, and she might be deceived by Lord Biming's flowery words. Seeing that the ninth summon and the others had already disappeared, Yun Xing could not help but feel anxious. If she missed the clue to find her mother's memories this time, she and her father would regret it for the rest of their lives. Tianyi Dong's face turned green and purple. White-haired old man Yun Xing wanted to vomit blood. If not for her father and Tianyi Dong being present, Yun Xing really wanted to strangle Night Fox alive. This guy called him father-in-law so fluently. However, after she changed her appearance, she could not even recognize her own parents at a glance. How could Night Fox recognize her at a glance? Chapter 699. Actually, Yi Biming was also very baffled. He was also brought here in a daze. Yi Biming killed the crimson blood summoning beasts along the way and searched the sea of clouds for a while. He also dealt with a few domain-level magical beasts, but he still didn't find the whereabouts of the king-level magical beast or the heavenly winged beast. Just as he was about to search for traces of other magical beasts, a strange wave came from his storage belt. That wave came from the horn of the crimson blood unicorn from earlier. Yi Biming was about to take out the horn and take a closer look to see what was going on when a wave of magical waves came from the horn and formed a magic array. Then, he appeared near Yun Xing. Even he didn't realize what had happened. Yun Songhai saw the strange behavior of Yi Biming and Yun Xing. As a father, he looked up and down at Yi Biming and realized that compared to when he was in Banana Leaf Village, the youth had obviously grown a lot. After not seeing him for several years, the silent and almost autistic youth in Banana Leaf Village had grown into a tall and imposing man. Looking at Yi Biming's back, his fighting aura had transformed into wings and flown thousands of miles. His breathing wasn't chaotic, and his cultivation and bearing were dozens of times better than before. If it weren't for the fact that this person was a member of the royal family of Zhou State, he would really be a rare match for his daughter. Yun Songhai sighed in his heart. He looked at his daughter's appearance and expression. Her disguised old face was stiff and motionless, but her eyes were anxious and gloomy. On the other hand, Lord Biming's gray eyes saw Yun Xing, who had changed her appearance, and recognized her with a single glance. Alas, these two people really looked like the situation when he was pursuing Yun Xing's mother. Yun Songhai sighed with emotion. It seemed that he had to think long and hard about letting his daughter break off the engagement with Lord Biming. He was afraid that he would have to deal with this matter as the father. With Yi Biming's help, Yun Songhai weighed the pros and cons and handed the baby magical beast to Yun Xing. Then, he cupped his hands towards Yi Biming. Then I'll have to trouble your highness to take care of her. Done talking, Yun Songhai performed an earth escape, his person already disappearing. What did he mean by taking care of her? Did she need his care? As if to prove that she could completely deal with Tianidong by herself, Yunxing began to chant. Her summoned beasts immediately appeared. Tianidong took a look and knew that the situation was not good. A poisonous light flashed in his eyes. The cub in Yunxing's hand suddenly let out a strange cry and bit Yunxing's hand. The cub's teeth flashed with a green light. It was obvious that it was poisonous. Be careful. When Yi Baiming saw this, he did not hesitate in the slightest and grabbed the cub with his hand. When the cub bit down, Yi Baiming felt a burst of pain in the web between his thumb and forefinger. After the pain, a scalding sensation instantly attacked his whole body. The blood that flowed out of his wound instantly turned a dark green color. Yi Baiming suddenly felt dizzy. Given his constitution, he still felt this way when facing this poison. It could be seen that this poison was very powerful. Yi Baiming withdrew his long fingers, and the baby magical beast in his hand was immediately strangled to death. It turned out that this cub was a trap set up by Tianidong. As early as after the king-level magical beast escaped, Tianidong secretly ordered that this magical beast cub be fed a forbidden drug of the Hidden Night Pavilion. This forbidden drug would cause magical beasts to gradually lose their consciousness and become Tianidong's tool. Tianidong wanted to use this cub to catch him off guard. Thus, when a beast riot broke out in the Tiani arena, he deliberately left the cub there. Sure enough, the cub was stolen by the smart aleck eldest young mistress. Serves you right for being unlucky. This cub was originally going to deal with Tianidong or that ghost-masked woman from the Zhao state. That poison is very powerful. If you don't die. Tianidong choked on his words. Little wild cat, you're not allowed. Yi Baiming's hand was already snatched away from Yunxing. She sucked the poisonous blood from Yi Baiming's wound mouthful by mouthful. Time returned to several years ago in an instant. Yi Baiming remembered that he had also been poisoned in Banana Leaf Village. At that time, his constitution was far worse than it was now. He remembered that the little wild cat had also sucked his blood without hesitation to get rid of the poison. Her soft lips lightly touched his wound. Yi Baiming's heart was as soft as water. Stupid fox, didn't I say that as long as there's no wound, sucking blood with your mouth won't get you poisoned? After Yunxing treated Yi Baiming's wound, she immediately took out 2 antidote pills and threw one to Yi Baiming before taking one herself. After eating, Yunxing realized that Yi Baiming was looking at her with a very hot gaze. Yunxing blushed at the sight of him acting as if he wasn't there. Where's Tianidong? Are you stupid? If he escapes to the Tiani city lord, my and big sister Yu's plan will be ruined. Yunxing saw that Tianidong had actually taken the opportunity to escape. It's very easy to kill him. Just wait. Yi Baiming smiled and disappeared in an instant. Yunxing pursed her lips and looked at her little beasts. It's time for you to show off. Tianidong had been hiding all this time and had already reached the periphery of the Cloud Sea. As long as he escaped back to his father, he would be saved. Tianidong's last hope was shattered when he saw Yi Baiming at the exit of the Cloud Sea. Second young master, you're really slow. Yi Baiming looked impatient. Yi Baiming, I respect you as Zhou State's Baiming King and don't want to fight with you. You just broke through to martial sage and are no match for this young master. Tianidong looked around and saw that the white-haired old man with many summoned beasts didn't chase after him. He was relieved. He had previously thought that the white-haired old man must be a fake, but when he saw the other party summon several magical beasts of unknown rank, Tianidong became afraid. But if his opponent was only Yi Baiming, he didn't need to worry about anything. Tianidong had broken through to martial sage 4 or 5 years ago, and he was now a mid-stage martial sage. Then this king will tell you what it means to be impossible. Yi Baiming's lips curled into a cold smile. The next moment, a layer of black helmet-like scales appeared on his body, and his gray eyes turned red. Beast blood berserk. His cultivation had also broken through from martial sage to martial emperor. This is impossible. How can you enter beast blood berserk in such a short time? Tianyi Dong was shocked. He stared into Yi Baiming's eyes. Those red eyes seemed to have a mysterious power that made him unable to move from head to toe. In this king's life, nothing is impossible. Yi Baiming's figure flickered, and he was like a ghost as he punched at Tianyi Dong's weak point under his abdomen. Under that punch, Tianyi Dong had no way to escape. He only felt all the bones in his body shatter. The next moment, his body was torn in half.